The art of pitching took center stage yesterday in Seattle. Doug Fister was thrifty, inducing ground balls at near maximum efficiency and limiting the Mariners to 2 runs. But Marco Gonzalez was even better. He tossed 6 strong innings, holding the Rangers to a run. Tonight, Texas turns the page as one Pacific Northwest native gets the nod against the king of this Emerald City. Now, always a big deal in town when Felix Hernandez makes a start for the Mariners. He is doing that tonight in Game 2 of our 4-game series, Rangers and Mariners indoors at Safeco. Welcome in, everybody. Great to be with you. I'm Dave Raymond alongside CJ Nitkowski. It was a lovely day today, but we are inside now as it started to drizzle a little bit before the game. Well, that means that we're playing inside baseball. It also means the Rangers are going to see a guy they're somewhat familiar with in Felix Hernandez.
Yeah, really amazing to see how often King Felix has actually pitched against the Texas Rangers, and he's been so good over the course of his career. One of the best right-handers that the game has seen, but a little bit different as of late. And for King Felix, it's 55 starts against the Texas Rangers. That is the most of any opponent that he has ever faced. Now, we've seen King Felix slow down just a little bit. The velocity used to be in the mid to upper 90s. It's not there anymore, but he's still a very effective starter, doing it in different ways. And so the Rangers of the past not quite getting the same look at the old Felix that they once saw.
Yeah, that's definitely the case with Felix Hernandez. It's also an interesting matchup tonight, one that I'm kind of looking forward to for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's nice to say we're looking forward to a matchup with Rougned Odor involved in it. He's been getting a little bit better lately.
He has. He's been on a really nice run. The swing has looked good. He's been hitting the ball hard. The other way, of course, the bunt has become a part of his game again. We have seen that as well. But the matchup between him and Felix Hernandez is certainly one that you want to keep an eye on. Now, in the beginning, this wasn't such a great matchup for Rougned Odor, just 2 for 22 with the 9 strikeouts. But lately, over his last 10 plate appearances, things have gone much better for him. 3 for 9 and a couple of home runs. So we're going to show you guys a little bit what has happened here head-to-head between Rougned Odor and Felix Hernandez. Hernandez knew that he could exploit below the zone, down and in at times, getting Rougned Odor to chase pitches. We know that's something Rugi is always working on. This pitch right here, though, kind of surprising in the strike zone that he didn't get it. Now, can't do that too often to Rougned Odor. Down and in is actually a really good spot for him, and you see him hit this ball well out here at Safeco Field against Felix Hernandez. Expect to potentially see some more of that. Rugi's got that great pull power. The high fastball is not there anymore for King Felix, and so got to believe there's a better chance we'll see what has happened lately between Rougned Odor and King Felix than maybe that early history.
Okay, so a fun matchup we'll keep our eye on this evening for you, and of course, yeah, it's King Felix. People here love it. One of the guys we just get tickled every time he comes out to pitch, Austin Bibbins-Dirks. Familiar territory on a couple of levels for ABD. Leslie McCaslin puts him in the spotlight and explains when we come back. Texas Ford dealer today. Ford is the best in Texas. And by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency.
Welcome back to Seattle and to Safeco Field, where the roof is on as the Rangers get ready for Game 2 against the Mariners. And Austin Bibbins-Dirks gets ready for his spot start tonight. Just the second this season. Told me yesterday he's ready for another opportunity. That's why he's in our Shiner Bach spotlight. And of course, this is familiar territory for Austin. Safeco Field is where he grew up coming to games. He's from Salem, Oregon. That's just about 3 hours away. And even though he did a pre-draft workout here in the bullpen and was drafted by the Mariners, he's never pitched in this ballpark or thrown on the field. Of course, though, he's no stranger to the Rangers clubhouse. He had 6 starts and 24 appearances last season. Most notably was when he faced Max Scherzer in D.C., allowing only 1 run, just 3 hits in 7 innings, as he and the Rangers got the win and got the series win in Washington, D.C. Oddly enough, this is also his second start, and that was his second start, so possibly a good omen. He told me yesterday the jitters get better with every game, but what he's focused on tonight is lowering that pitch count. He got too many pitches last time. It got too high too early. He wants to be able to go deeper in the game. Well, we have more coming your way from Seattle. Beautiful night here as Austin Bibbins-Dirks gets ready to face King Felix. Should be a good one. Stick around.
Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. And by GMC. Visit your local GMC dealer. Yeah, it's Bark in the Park night today. The dogs are out with us. Even Rangers dogs. That's a long trip for that guy.
He hasn't been interested in being here.
Well, maybe not. Well, he's going to be interested in who else is here with him. That's the thing. All right, our Southwest starting lineup for the Texas Rangers. 22 wins, 34 losses. Delano DeShields leading it off in center field. Shin-Soo Choo, the DH. Jerks and Profar bats third today at short. Mazzara, Kiner Falefa, and Gallo. A lot of youth in the heart of the order today. Then Odor at second, Guzman at first, Carlos Perez catching for the Rangers.
I'll be going up against King Felix. Felix Hernandez, the right-hander, and here is that pitch arsenal for Hernandez and what he has used this year. Two-seam fastball, lots of them at 33%. Curveball, changeup, then the four-seamer, then the slider. So a full kitchen sink for the right-hander King Felix. mentioned in the open, a little bit of a different look for him. That mid-90s fastball is no longer. Fastball sits 89 to 91 miles per hour.
So there we go, underway with a strike to Delano DeShields. 1 for 4 yesterday. And that one a little high, 1-1. 61 degrees again today, just as it was yesterday, but today the roof closed. Just a little bit of drizzle as we were getting ready tonight. Swing and a miss, strike 2.
It's the same game time temperature as yesterday, right? Wasn't it 61 yesterday, but it was a day game. And this is it's a roof, but it's open here. You still get the open air.
That's true.
It shouldn't affect the temperature that much. Kind of surprising.
Lionel stays alive.
There it is. There's nothing there. Those aren't windows. That is just completely open. And so while you're not exposed to the elements, you can get rained on. Those seats that are right under that Safeco Field sign, that rain could certainly get you in that spot. Just look at the cool breeze here in Seattle.
That's what they call you. 2-2 to DeShields. Cool breeze that counts.
That's right.
Delano's hit in 6 straight games now. And he pops this one up off his hands near first, and Ryan Healy is there for the first out of the ball game.
The defense tonight for the Seattle Mariners behind Felix Hernandez. We'll take a look at it. In the outfield, Denard Span, Mitch Haniger, and Ben Gamel. Gamel in right field did not start yesterday. And in that infield, Kyle Seager, Gene Segura back in the starting lineup, Gordon Beckham, Ryan Healy, and Mike Zunino behind the plate.
So Delano back in the dugout, and now here is Shin-Soo Choo. And Delano, we mentioned his 6-game hitting streak, and that's nice. Good to see him getting going just a touch. Choo also on a 6-game hitting streak, but his streak a whole lot different and really a little bit better, because you can go now of 15 straight games in which he has reached base safely. I mean, and a ton of walks. I mean, it's not a cheap streak. 16 walks during the 15-game stretch. Hits this ball high in the air out to center field, carrying well. Back to the wall, Haniger, and it is gone! A home run by Shin-Soo Choo, his 9th of the season. And the Rangers jump out quickly tonight, 1-0.
Well, Choo continues to be locked in. It really has been unbelievable to watch the run that he has been on. You were just talking about the walks, the patience, and here he was in a 2-0 count. He gets himself in that great hitter's count, and Felix Hernandez has kind of shifted into a little bit more of a fly ball pitcher. That is the 11th home run that he has allowed so far this season. And we did all the talk yesterday about Fister starting his career here. Kind of neglected that Choo was an original Seattle Mariner.
Ground ball out to second base. Profar erased, and that is out number 2. You know, with Felix Hernandez, you got to get to him early. I don't. You have to, but you can see the numbers very different for him in the first inning than the rest of the game. A .354 batting average against, and for good power, a nearly 650 slugging. And if you want to break it down in terms of earned run average, his first inning ERA is over 12, whereas the rest of the game right near 3. So I guess maybe not a total shock that the Rangers would get to him in the first inning, because everybody else has. Mazzara, and he takes on the inside corner for a strike.
Well, it's significant, and certainly for the Rangers, they understand that coming in, and we've seen it. Doesn't matter the name, the resume, how good the starter has been. We were talking about this the other day. There are just some guys that take a little while to get comfortable. And when we were playing the Kansas City Royals, Ned Yost brought up John Smoltz and Tom Glavine as guys that really struggled in the first inning. And certainly King Felix has a tremendous resume. He's done very well in his career, but the first inning even a problem for this veteran.
It's 1-1. Breaking ball finds the outside corner. Strike 2 on Mazzara. No Omar was hitless yesterday, 0 for 4 with a couple of strikeouts. Just 3 hits in his last 5 games. Chops this one over the mound near second base, where the shortstop Segura fields and throws him out. So the inning is done. But the Rangers jump out first tonight. Shin-Soo Choo with a home run, and it's 1-0. Well, a Choo homer has the Rangers in front 1-0. And now the Mariners coming up. We take a look at their lineup. Gene Segura back in there today at shortstop, leading it off. Denard Span left, Mitch Haniger in center. It's Cruz, Seager, and Ryan Healy at first base. And Ben Gamble, Mike Zunino, and Gordon Beckham rounding things out for Seattle. Austin Bibbins-Dirks in his second start of the year. And the righty's first pitch, right in there for a strike.
And here is the arsenal for Bibbins-Dirks, what he has done. Now this is going back to last season, and that pitch usage, four-seam fastball, slider, that has been what he has predominantly used. You'll see the changeup, the curveball, and the occasional two-seam fastball as well.
Segura shoots that one away foul.
The pitch that was best last year for Austin, it was 14% usage, but the curveball, where he had just the 156 batting average against that pitch. He's got very similar velocity to what we mentioned with King Felix, 89 to 91.
Oh, 2 to Segura. And he pops this one foul and out of play. Segura was in the lineup yesterday when we got here to the ballpark, and then scratched maybe about an hour or so beforehand, as he was not quite out of the concussion protocol in time. You see, he's been off to a good start, 5th in the American League with that .324 average. Doesn't walk a ton. And he takes inside 1-2. Well, it's been a good year so far for the Mariners shortstop, and while they played without him yesterday, they won 2-1. Now have him cleared and back in there today, leading things off.
And this is where he has been really tough. You see this 1-2 count so far this year, hitting .304 when he has 2 strikes on him. That is second best in all of baseball.
Hits this ball well out to center field, on the run for it to Shields, and that one drops down in front of him. And so Segura deposits another hit out of a 1-2 count.
Exactly what I was talking about with 2 strikes, and in this high strikeout and swing and miss era, Gene Segura is not one of those guys, and he gets a pitch that is up and he goes short to the ball and hits himself a soft line drive into center field for another 2-strike base hit.
So a base runner for the Mariners, and Segura does have very good speed. 12 stolen bases this year. With that in mind, Bibbins-Dirks will make sure that everybody understands. He's well aware of that.
No doubt. And going back to that at bat real quick, I think it's always interesting when you start to game plan a little bit. And certainly the Rangers are aware of how good Gene Segura has been with 2 strikes. And what that tells you is you don't really even go for the strikeout 0-2, 1-2. You go for the weak contact, even though a lot of times you'll say, well, okay, get to 2 strikes. How can I strike this guy out? You're almost wasting your time when you have the high batting average guys. When you get to those 2 strikes, you end up wasting pitches. You got to go to where you think you can get weak contact, which would almost be, 2-0, 1-0, 1-1 kind of approach. But you have to do that with a guy like Gene Segura, even with 2 strikes.
Takes his lead again. The pitch on the way to Denard Span, and he pulled back in time. Thought about a bunt maybe, but it's 1-0. Span made his Mariners debut yesterday, went 0 for 4 in the ball game. Did score a run, however. Starts in left field. Recently acquired from the Tampa Bay Rays, and he holds off. That one is wide. It's 2-0.
So interesting that we saw him bunt, or at least attempt to bunt, then pull the bat back. This is something that the Mariners have done extremely well. They lead all of baseball right now in sacrifice bunts, 17 of those, but Scott Service had said he hasn't necessarily called all those, and he also feels like some of them have been bunt attempts for hits that have just gone down as sacrifices because it's moved to run over. He doesn't necessarily even love the bunt.
Well, Span rips this one down into the right field corner. With Segura's speed, they are going to stop him at third. And the throw back into the infield, got in there quickly, and Segura stuck at third base on Denard Span's double. Maybe, we'll see, maybe a little bit of a break right there.
Yeah, we will see. With nobody out, still a lot of work to do, and this 2-seam fastball caught a little bit too much plate. And Denard Span able to line that into right field. You're right, there would have been a pretty decent chance for Segura to score, then especially after the bobble on the cutoff throw to Rougned Odor. Short hopped him, was unable to handle it cleanly, so undoubtedly Segura would have scored. But with nobody out and a couple of base hits to start the game, you play it safe, you give the middle of your lineup an opportunity. You certainly don't want to run into any outs, and Scott Brocious felt like, you know what, let's be a little conservative here in the first inning.
So Mitch Haniger stands in, and he takes ball 1. Haniger a .280 average this year. Had a hit yesterday.
I think that's why Scott Service really doesn't want his team bunting, especially in the first inning. And I just thought it was interesting that they had 17 of those sacrifice bunts. He was actually surprised when he heard that number. He said, well, we tell our guys sometimes they have a sign for get a guy over whatever way you want to do it. Whether that means trying to hit a ground ball to the right side, you want to lay down a bunt. They don't necessarily force their guys to bunt. They don't think that that number leading the league is something that would hold for them over the full length of the season.
2-1. Well, I got to believe, and so you pointed out the 17 sacrifice bunts. So you see their skipper. A lot of the bunt statistics, they're really hard to, have a real accurate feel on. You saw the Rangers had 12 there. Well, how many of those were really, attempts at a bunt hit? Fly ball again out to right field. That's going to be trouble. Back toward the corner, and that one a fair ball. Bangs around out there, gets Segura home safely. Denard Span will score as well. Haniger follows with his own double. This one good for 2, and the Mariners on top 2-1.
The Mariners have come out swinging here this evening against Austin Bibens-Dirks, and that's a pretty good pitch. You see that slider right on the corner, and this one hits the base of the wall, but it's also a really good approach. You see Mitch Haniger in that spot. It's just a 1-strike count, but still trying to go the other way on what was a pretty good pitcher's pitch. It's one of those pitches and one of those at-bats where you just kind of tip your cap to the opposing hitter.
It gives Haniger now a team-high 39 RBIs. It brings up Nelson Cruz. That one comes in and got it. Cruz heads down to first base.
Well, certainly no intent there by Austin Bibens-Dirks, just because the Mariners have come out and hit a little bit. Not going to necessarily go in and try to hit a hitter, and certainly Austin Bibbins-Dirk's not thinking that. That's just a two-seam fastball that had a little bit too much run. Now, with that being said, you also don't want guys getting too many comfortable swings, which we've kind of seen here in the first inning, and you do have to move some of those hitters' feet. But no intent on that hit by pitch.
It sets up potentially a double play now with runners at first and second. Kyle Seager, dangerous left-handed hitter who has been a real tough out for the Rangers over the years. He stands in, and the pitch on the way. A little bit high for a ball. Seager, though, it's been a struggle. 226 average this season. The power numbers still there. Run production numbers are there. We see this really across the board. A lot of averages dipping these last two seasons. 2-0 the count. Not a guy you can take lightly. His home run total against the Rangers, what, 24, I believe. And that is the most of any team he has played. Tied for second most against the Rangers by any one player. Mike Trout also with 24 career home runs.
Those are those numbers. They're pretty big ones. Better than 300 batting average against Rangers over the course of his career. He's having an interesting season where he's been much better against lefties than he has righties, which you wouldn't necessarily expect for a guy who's been, he's been very good and very consistent, right? The home runs over the course of his career, anywhere between 20 and 30 in each of those first 6 full seasons at the big league level. So lots of consistency with the power. The batting average has been relatively consistent, right in the 260s for the most part. Last year dropped to 249. But to see him actually have some better numbers, an average batting average with some power, but actually that batting average be better against lefties this year, significantly, very surprising.
Well, gets a good pass at this one. A high fly ball out there to deep center. But DeShield's able to get underneath it. Haniger tags at second and will advance a base. But Seager the first out of the inning with that deep fly ball out. Mariners have him on the corners.
Let's take a look at the Rangers defense this evening, which is delivered to you by Methodist Health Systems. Joey Gallo, Delino DeShields, and Nomar Mazara. And Delino and Nomar already getting a little bit of work here early on. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa at third, Jurickson Profar at short, Ruben Odor at second, Ronald Guzman at first, and Carlos Perez getting the start tonight behind the plate.
I should correct myself too, by the way. The 24 home runs for Seager and Trout, those two are tied for the most of any one player against the Rangers. Here's Ryan Healy now, and he takes strike one. Healy, the new first baseman in Seattle, came over from Oakland. 8 homers this year, a 250 average. In fact, had 25 home runs last year with the A's. Real good year for him. Comes up empty, the count 0-2.
I really like the Ryan Healy swing and what we have seen from him over the last couple of years, but he struggled here in Seattle so far at home. Got a 237 on base percentage in this ballpark. I always felt like this was a pretty fair ballpark. We look around the league and we try to figure out which ones are better for pitchers, which ones are better for hitters.
Ball shortstop, knocked down by Profar, but he'll get no outs. Healy is on. Haniger able to score, and it's 3-1 Seattle.
Kind of a bad break as far as location of where this was hit. As you see Jurickson Profar go to his right and dive, and even if he fielded that ball cleanly, I'm not sure there would have been much of a play at first base. As you see that ball hit the heel of the glove, they certainly wouldn't have had a play at second.
So an infield hit. And now with 2 base runners out there, it's Ben Gamble. Tough start so far for Austin Bibbins-Dirks. He finds a strike zone to Gamble, who did not play yesterday. You can see just 3 hits against the Rangers so far this year. This is the 7th game these two teams have played head-to-head. Gamble in an 0-2 hole.
For Austin, maybe an opportunity here to try to get that ground ball. Double plays well ahead in the count. 0-2, so you certainly take a shot at the strikeout, but that's not really his game. His game is trying to keep the ball on the ground. 7 double plays that he was able to induce on the ground last year.
Gamble sends this one out towards center. DeShields able to track it down, and there are 2 away. Oh, that one looked like trouble off the bat. The great speed of Delino allowed him to get there and close that gap.
Delino's made a couple of nice plays. It was the Seager deep fly out a couple of hitters ago, and the closing speed here as that line drive started to die a little bit on him, and he saw him looking at first, and he thought maybe, let's see it right here, he would have had a chance. Healy was pretty far off first, but where Ronald Guzman was positioned, not worth taking that chance on a throw.
So 2 away now, and here is Mike Zunino. Sub 200 average, but 8 home runs from the Mariners catcher. Former first-round draft pick by Seattle. He was like a top 5 overall selection that year. I want to say he might have been like the 3rd man picked. So he takes low, and it's 2-0. Great collegiate catcher at the University of Florida. And a high pop-up, foul territory, and that one will end up in the stands. Now we're getting a look at Austin Bibbins-Dirks there a moment ago, and for Austin, pitching here close to home. His wife Leah with him here on the trip. She's managing the tickets for him, he told me today. About 12 or so family members and friends who made the trip up from Salem today. Graduated from McNary High School in Oregon, played community college baseball, eventually went to the University of Portland. 2-2 on Zunino, and then drafted by the Mariners. Well traveled since those early years, though.
Yeah, those next 11 were pretty interesting for Austin Bibbins-Dirks. We've talked about his story a lot. And perseverance, certainly. Brandon Mann, another interesting story from this season for the Rangers. Never know what will happen in this game.
2-2. And this one off the handle foul.
That's what's cool, right, about our sport compared to others. Probably not going to see a guy break in the NFL at 32 years old, 31, right? Not going to happen in NBA. Yeah, every once in a while, that guy gets a 10-day contract. But our sport offers something a little bit different. I don't think it happens in ice hockey too often. I'm not a big fan. I don't know it that well, but I don't think too many rookie stories. And the Rangers have had multiple rookies in their 30s the last couple of years. Tony Barnett, Austin Bibbins-Dirks, Matt Bush, Brandon Mann.
Yeah, we've seen the story played over and over again. Very different paths for all of them. I asked Austin, I said, did you ever confront that, reality that the dream might not really happen for you, right? I mean,
yeah. And
do you ever get to that point where you were thinking, well, maybe I'm just ready to give it up? And he said, not really. He said, the second tour through independent ball when he was like 30, he said, I realized at that point, like, that's a long shot from here.
Yeah.
This is where careers go to end, not to take that next step to the big leagues. He said, but you know what? To the point you're just making right there, the game will let you know. And it does happen in this sport, unlike others, where there's still a chance. And so he just hung in there. Last man standing sometimes. 3-2 pitch and a swing and a miss. He strikes out Zunino to end the inning. A long inning for Austin Bibbins-Dirks. He allows 3 runs, and we go to the second. Ducks for $1 each. That's the real story. Go to TexasRangers.com or call 972-RANGERS and come on out and join us. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa to lead things off here in the second inning against King Felix. The veteran right-hander misses outside. It's 1-1. So Kiner-Falefa batting 5th today. You see his 37 hits are 3rd among American League rookies. And he hits this ball well out to left field, high in the air. Span going back near the wall, and he'll make the catch. One away. That gives us a moment to check in with our friends at Southwest Kia.
$250 down, $250 a month or less on select new Kias in stock, only at southwestkia.com.
All right, one away, and here is Joey Gallo. Joey was not in the lineup yesterday, came in as a pinch hitter with 2 out in the 9th in that 1-run game. But right out to end it, and he shows bunt.
There is a tremendous amount of room, as you can see, on the left side of the infield with Kyle Seager on the right side of second base. So he got himself an off-speed pitch, and you see Joey kind of stab at it a little bit. But look where Kyle Seager is.
Where is he? He's a third baseman, isn't he? What's he doing over there?
And that, you know, in these situations, that's where the conversation has gone. You know, as far as when you got the defense set up like that, someone hits a ground ball to Kyle Seager. Do you really write 5-3 in your scorebook? He's in that zone almost of the second baseman, and should it be the ground out went to a zone as opposed to the actual person who fielded it? Positionless defense.
Mariners rolling out their nickel package here. A 1-2 to Gallo, and it's off the plate. Yep, it is weird. And it's already happened, right? Where I've gone back to my scorebook and I'll have recalled the situation and I'll look at my score. 6-3. Wait a minute. I thought that was 2-2 pitch. Because there was a time when a 6-3 in your scorebook gave you a real clear idea where the ball was hit. Now it doesn't.
No, it certainly does not. That is amazing. It's almost like you're like, hey, what happened to the third baseman? Did he forget to come out? No, there it is. Over there. With the shortstop.
This one lined over the shift and out into right field. And Gallo going to try for 2. He's sprinting in there, and he's in there standing with a 1-out double.
Well, they wouldn't give Joey Gallo an opportunity to hit the ball the other way based on how he was pitched throughout this at-bat. Anything close to the strike zone was in, middle in off the plate. And this one here, even a 3-2 count for Felix Hernandez. He throws a changeup, but he doesn't throw it away. You would think the changeup would fade away and be on the outer half of the plate, but that would give Joey an opportunity to slap it. So they wanted to throw that thing down and in a little bit. The ball cut back over the plate. He lined it in the right field. I wonder if there's extra satisfaction for these guys when they get hits against the shift into the area in which they are shifting.
Yeah, I would think so. Right?
Like, what would feel better, hitting a hard line drive, like where the shortstop would be, or just hitting a missile like right through the shift?
Missile through the shift.
Yeah.
It's got to be much more satisfying.
Okay, why don't you put your left fielder over there too? Like, that's what I'd be thinking as I was going around first.
Well, I got the sense that he was running with a little extra vengeance. And he was determined to turn that into a double.
Well, I can see where he'd be a little angry too, because, you know, we talk about the bunting situation, and he gives it an attempt there, and you know, he struggled a little bit, and he kind of stabbed at a pitch that ended up being a ball. And what I always worry about in those situations is that a player gets discouraged. Like, okay, I'm going to try a bunt here. Why not? I'll go ahead. And then it's like a bunt attempt that doesn't work out really well. And then do they get ticked off that they even tried to bunt in that spot, knowing that's not really their strength, and they gave up a strike in the process. So it's always good to see the hitter come out on top after that.
Well, Odor strikes out, 2 away here in the second inning. I'll bring up Ronald Guzman. Guzman with the start at first base, batting 8th today. Was 0 for 3 yesterday, hitless in his last 8 at-bats. But that's really not a great sense of what he has been doing lately, because on that homestand he was red hot. for power. Rolls this one up the middle. That's a base hit. Gallo waved around third. He'll score easily on the Guzman single, and it makes it a one-run game. And Guzman picks up his 22nd RBI of the year.
Good job by Juan Guzman to come out swinging right away. He just saw a couple of deep at-bats, Rougned Odor, Joey Gallo, and he sees something that he can handle in a first pitch that is kind of up and away a little bit. It was a breaking ball. It didn't do very much. Did a great job of getting that 2-out RBI.
So now Guzman over there at first, smile on his face, and Carlos Perez will get a chance in the second inning. Ninth place hitter. Oh, he tees off. Hits this one though high in the air. Got under it a little. And Denard Span will tuck it away. So the inning is done, but the Rangers do get a run back. We've played an inning and a half. The Mariners lead it 3-2. At T-Mobile, fans can receive a 20% discount on tickets in the all-you-can-eat seats in the home run porch on Fridays. The next one will be June 8th, Rangers and Astros. Use the coupon code T-Mobile at TexasRangers.com/specials. All right, here we go now, bottom of the second inning. Austin Bibbins-Dirks, we'll see if he settles in a little bit more here in the second. As he gets a look at Gordon Beckham, ninth place hitter. After a rugged first in which he had to use 32 pitches off the plate, and it's 1-1 on Beckham. So Bibbins-Dirks, as Leslie pointed out earlier tonight, though he has seen the Mariners a couple of times in his past, this is the first time he's ever pitched here. It goes wide with ball 2.
Always brings that extra anxiety, right? We've talked about that before for pitchers and even position players. When you go back home, get to pitch in the ballpark, maybe you watch some baseball growing up, or the team that you rooted for. Trying to calm those emotions. And, you know, it's a little bit of a calmer night, cool night yesterday. Bigger crowd, a little bit more intense. But that doesn't really change what's going on with the player on the inside. Regardless of your age, the first time you get to do it in that ballpark that you watch games in as a youngster, it brings some extra emotion.
Beckham bounces one back to Bibbins-Dirks, and he'll underhand it to first, one away. All right, time for the big story. The players of the week this week in the American and National League. There you go, second baseman Gleyber Torres. Huge week, 5 home runs, a .368 average for the Yankees. And Scooter Gennett, one of the all-time great baseball names, 12 for 25 with 3 bombs. What a week for him. Gene Segura And he'll lift this one out to left field. Gallo looks up. That's over his head. And it plugs out there just beneath the fence. Segura into second with a one-out double.
A smart play by Joey Gallo to pick that ball up and throw it in, even though it looked like it had a chance or might have gotten wedged in the bottom. You don't want to take that chance if you think you can get that ball out there easily. First pitch, ball was left up. Yeah, you see that? It went under, but it wasn't actually stuck under the fence. So Joey does a good job getting that in quickly.
So now it's Denard Span. So Segura had 2 hits, had a single in the first, a double here. Span hit a big double his first time up and holds off on strike 1. You see his overall numbers there at the bottom of your screen for Span. The majority of those, 43 games with Tampa Bay. This count 0-2. Span, though, excited to be a part of the Mariners now, leaving the Rays organization with that trade, well, I guess right before the weekend. Tampa Bay was playing 500 baseball coming into play today, but I think probably people around the league looking at Seattle saying, like, this is a team that's got a real shot. Mariners are a season best 13 games over 500 right now.
Playing some really good baseball and have been as of late. The bullpen has been really good. They've been great in one-run games. Those things certainly work together, and they're finding a way to make a run. And you know this, okay, they've made this trade already now with Denard Span and Alex Colomé. The team has gotten better because of that. You know, there could be some more moves in the works if they continue to hang in there. Remember, they're doing it right now without Robinson Cano.
2 strike pitch. Ground ball, shortstop, Profar thought about third, but he'll throw over to first to get Span for out number 2. So here comes Mitch Haniger, the TXU Energy power player to watch tonight. And Haniger had the 2-run double in the first inning. All these numbers against the Rangers now. 375 average, 6 home runs, 19 RBIs. In a very short order, he has emerged as just another Seattle Mariner that you just as soon get a day off. He takes a strike.
That's good fastball from Austin Bibbins-Dirks. That's the 2-seam fastball with good movement in to those right-handers, and he does a good job of, with that pitch, of keeping the ball on the ground. No home runs against that pitch last year. The batting average was a little bit high at 292. But hitters really didn't slug against that 2-seamer, especially when he gets it in on the righties.
Chopper foul, 0-2 on Haniger. Nice play down there. So ABD trying to get through this second inning without allowing any further damage. Gave up 3 runs in the first on 4 hits, and it's not uncommon. We talked about it when Felix Hernandez was out there. A lot of times it is that first inning that can be really tough. 0-2. Haniger's not chasing that. Well, Austin looked pretty good in his first start with the Rangers. That was on Thursday when he was officially activated off the Round Rock roster and pitched in the opener against Kansas City. Went 6 1/3 in that game. 1-2. He'll do it again. Defense didn't help him a ton in Thursday's game. Ultimately allowed 6 runs, 4 of them earned. But he struck out 6, walked 1. Found himself out there in the 7th inning, which was, you know, it's always appreciated, certainly by his mates out of the bullpen. A little low, 2-2.
Yeah, it was a good start. You look at the overall numbers and you see the 6 runs, and you would assume that it wasn't a good start, but I would disagree with that thought. The fact that he went into that 7th inning, the first couple of runners got on, came around to score, and it was all said and done. And went from 2 earned runs through 6 to 4 earned runs through 7. And I thought Austin looked really sharp in that first one. The strikeouts you mentioned, that's certainly a good sign. I mentioned this earlier, not necessarily the biggest part of his game. He tries to pitch to weak contact.
Weak contact? Our ball girl would argue that point with you.
That one was not weak. And heads up. Everyone can smile now. Tough play on a high bounce here. Watch this. She's still the glove's under, and this issue there, she tried to then turn the glove the other way, but a little bit late. That's a tough bounce coming off that track.
So 2-2 on Haniger. Here it comes. Into the back.
It's a good look at the Austin Bivens-Dirk angle change, right? Gets a little bit lower right there, and not a bad idea. Guy takes a really good swing off of you, whether you go to a different pitch, different location. Austin also has that option of changing that angle. He'll go a little bit sidearm. The regular angle for him is about low 3/4, but then he'll get on the side of some pitches every once in a while just to give that different look. And it'll be a little bit of a different movement too. Not just that it looks different to the hitter because of the angle, but also the angle in which the pitch breaks.
Ground ball, third base. Kind of Falefa with his first chance of the night, and he throws out Haniger. The inning is done, and so Austin Bivens-Dirk does put up a 0. We go to the 3rd inning, 3-2 Mariners.
To play the 3rd inning. Well, guys, a quick update on Elvis Andrus and Adrian Beltre. Both have taken steps forward here on this road trip. Elvis Andrus took BP, jogged the bases, and hitting off the tee for the first time this week. Adrian Beltre, in the meantime, guys, getting really close, Jeff Bannister said. They want to make sure, though, he's ready. Adrian told us he lost the power he had to make his own decisions and is now up to the training staff, guys. He said he feels a little bit like a kid.
Oh, no. Well, it saw a very close plate right here as DeShields tried to bunt his way on. Wow, that is close.
That great speed, and I think Delano kind of knew it. That was extremely close and a pretty good bunt. Credit the Mariners there. It's a good defensive play. But that's pretty funny knowing that Adrian is not allowed to be a part of the process anymore a little bit. It's as if he got kind of sent to his room, maybe in detention right now. We'll take it from here. But it's important, right? I mean, you got to do it. And you can appreciate Adrian Beltre would be on the field probably much quicker than anybody else would allow him. And the Rangers are thinking a little bit more big picture. They don't want to rush him back.
1-1 on Chu, who homered in the first inning. pitch on the way from Hernandez. That's a strike. Chu knew it. Well, he's seen it well right now, and not a surprise. Every once in a while they'll sneak one by him, but for the most part, he's been right on top of it. He knows what is strike worthy and what is not. Boy, he has been walking lately, and of course, driving the baseball with power once again lately. He goes in little spurts on that, but he's in a little bit of a power run again. Inside, and it's a full count. All right, time for our AARP take on today. Chu against Felix Hernandez. How about that? 371 average. With a lot of walks in there, and you can add one to it. That's his 11th career walk.
It's amazing on-base percentage of 371. The 16 hits that you see there from Chu, and he's had good at-bats throughout his career against Felix Hernandez. And as I mentioned before, you get a different look at what Felix Hernandez is right now. It's 89 to 91. It's mixing and matching a lot more, and the velocity is way down. And with the velocity down, of course, you expect it. He's taken on a lot of innings. What's interesting to me is how little he throws his four-seam fastball, even from just 5 years ago. He would throw that pitch 46% of the time, nearly half the time. Right? Remember that good high velocity four-seam fastball? Here it is, nearly half the time. That usage is down to 15%. Now it's a good adjustment on his part, recognizing, you know what, 96 isn't there anymore. You can't blow by guys. I got to pitch a little bit more. I got to be smarter with the way that I do things. I have to throw more two-seam fastballs, and that's what you're seeing.
Won the count on Profar.
There was a time where you wouldn't see that 1-0 curveball.
Right.
You would see, 96 and not even have to be pinpoint, because it was a live 96 that Felix Hernandez had.
Cy Young Award winner in 2010. Six-time All-Star. He certainly has all the hardware to accompany the great stuff that he used to feature. Now becoming much more of a pitcher. And that sense of commanding a number of different offerings and working hitters, a little more deception. There's also one unique distinction as a pitcher. Think of all the active pitchers in Major League Baseball right now. It's 2-1. It's the only active pitcher in baseball who holds his franchise's current all-time record for wins and strikeouts. I mean, if you think about it, that's kind of hard to do.
Well, it certainly is, just because there's so much turnover. You develop yourself a really good young starter, and more often than not, they're going to explore free agency, and those guys are a lot tougher to keep around.
Full count now on Profar.
Big swing by Jerks and Profar there in the 3-1 count, and a 90-mile-an-hour fastball looked like it was right down the middle. Some frustration on the face of Jerks, and that he missed that pitch.
Chu at first. He's going. And Profar fights it off. Profar grounded out on the first, 0 for 1. Hernandez came up with the Mariners, made his debut as a 19-year-old. He spent his entire career in the organization, now at 32 years old. Comes to the plate, runner goes again. Bouncing ball right side in that hole, covered up nicely by Beckham, but has only one play. Gets Profar, but Chu off and running, able to stay out of the double play, and now out there in scoring position.
Well, I think you and I had this conversation before about Felix Hernandez. I believe it was earlier this season. You mentioned all the years that he has been here with the Seattle Mariners. This is his 14th season here at the big league level. He's never pitched in the postseason. And the way things are going now, the overall numbers, he's got a 5-4 record, but the ERA is up over 5.5 coming into this one. From a technical standpoint, or as far as a best pitcher standpoint, he's probably not the ace anymore here with James Paxton, and they could be facing, and it's still early, but a very interesting decision if they were able to hold on and be a wild card team.
Got Mazzara. So similar pitch. It caught Nelson Cruz in the first inning. Gets Mazzara here. Both of them fastballs about upper 80s.
Yeah, and that one got Nomar right in the thigh. Didn't feel great. Now, you're thinking that be a situation in which Felix Hernandez would want to, pay back based on what happened. I don't think so. And he had a couple of words for Nomar Mazzara.
So that's what I'm thinking, though.
It's possible. I mean, you have the open base, but you're down by 1 right now. If I'm going to do that, payback usually 2 outs, nobody on. Kind of Falefa, I get it, on deck maybe. I don't know, but it felt like he wanted to do it. Maybe he did. It's always possible.
And I say that, CJ, not that there's a ton of malice or whatever. I feel like sometimes it's just a feeling of obligation. Okay, I'll hit a guy in a fat part with a pitch that's, sort of hard, but not that hard. Let's just move on. I feel like it's done.
Could be. I mean, he's definitely a veteran who's been around, as mentioned, 14 years. And it's one of those deals. Okay, well, you hit our 4-hole hitter. I'm going to hit your 4-hole hitter. Can't argue with it as far as if you felt like you wanted to squash it, you wanted to stick up for your guy, Nelson Cruz.
Two on here for Kiner Falefa. Down by a run.
I'm kind of wondering, get to the wild card game if it happens for the Mariners.
Wild card game, no way. I'm not pitching.
It's Keith Felix. I mean, it's going to be James Paxton.
Absolutely.
Yeah, which is really amazing to think. Scott Service. It's not as difficult of a decision, say if Felix is pitching a little bit better or if he's pitching a little bit better by the end of the year. And again, still 4 months to go in the season. A lot can happen.
Well, you never know. You might need Paxton on the last day of the season just to get to that game. Well, there are any number of ways it could go down. But if it's, if it's a choice, both are available and ready, both pitching similarly at the end of the year, I'm going with Paxton. And I
hope you get in the series, right? Because it's always been the conversation here is that he was probably one of the best pitchers in the game that has never pitched in the postseason.
For sure.
Felix Hernandez.
Well, the 2-2. And this one down the right field line, but foul. That's interesting. It is the longest postseason drought for any franchise in America's, big 4 major sports. That was the last team, 2001. What a team it was, 116 wins. But when you think of teams that have gone through a long stretch, the Mariners since 2001, it's longer than the drought of the Cleveland Browns. That's enough to make a man shudder. Sacramento, 12 years in the NBA, and then the Carolina Hurricanes, 9 years. They have been out of it in the NHL. So
I know that one's been a tough one for you with the Hurricanes, right?
It has been, but you know what? Good days are still out in front. I know it. It's going to turn any day. What Carolina is that, north or south?
That's a good question. And had you asked me if the Carolina Hurricanes were a hockey team still, I would have been flipping a coin. I'm not sure.
2-2. And a hard ground ball, shortstop. Segura will go the short way, and that will end the inning. So the Rangers leave a pair in the third after 2.5. Mariners lead by 1.
Oh, was that a topic around the game, wasn't it, that slide? That was a little much for me. I mean, I felt bad, of course, when you have the contact and you worry about guys getting hurt, but boy, has the game changed. that is a hot topic, and it was.
It's after moments like that, I wish we could, like, tie Michael Young in via phone for our broadcast and get his thoughts on that, because not a fan. And what I appreciate so much about MY is he's direct about it. He doesn't hide behind it. It is a little silly. Cruz waits on an 0-2, and that one is off the plate.
When's the last time you saw Major League Baseball basically come out with a statement to go against what an umpire ruling was? Essentially, was kind of their statement. They felt like, why did they feel that it was necessary, I wonder, to make a statement and say that the umpires made an error in judgment on that call? Because it also went to instant replay, so it wasn't like one umpire made a bad call on the field and it was one that you couldn't challenge. It was a handful of umpires that
sort of a systemic issue right there. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe because there was such a big deal made about it. I don't know. They want to get that message out there. I thought it was pretty interesting. The slide. It always looks worse when there's some kind of contact there, but I think the one thing that people maybe have forgotten is you're still at that contact.
This ball hit well out to left field, and Nelson Cruz with some pretty good contact, solo home run, 9th of the year for him, and it makes it 4-2 Seattle.
Well, it hasn't been the best year for Nelson Cruz, but he absolutely still has that kind of power, and that was a line shot that he hit out to left field, and he's a guy that you got to be careful with early. He's got that pull power, and 5th pitch of the at-bat, he shows it off right there. 106 miles an hour, that projected distance of nearly 380 feet. That was the other thing we were talking about, how the Mariners have been playing really good baseball without Robinson Cano. First he got hurt, then he goes on the restricted list. He's going to miss a good chunk of the season, that 80-game suspension. But then they're also doing it without the best version of Nelson Cruz this year. So even though he's been there, the 220, hitting 220 with now just 9 home runs, but we know he's been better than that. The depth of this team is what's been really good. And another guy here struggling.
Yeah.
Kyle Seager. It's really, you would look at this kind of team and say, okay, no Robinson Cano, a struggling Nelson Cruz, and Kyle Seager not having his best year. Well, there's no way that team's going to contend. Not in the American League West, and here they are playing some really good baseball.
That's some of the best baseball in baseball for the month of May, for last couple of weeks. I don't know, you chop it up a number of different ways, and they look pretty darn good. There's a swing and a miss. Seager strikes out, 1 away here in the 3rd inning.
Take a look at this pitch from Austin Bibbins-Dirks. He gets himself in that good 0-2 count, elevates what looked like a 2-seam fastball, had some pretty good movement on it at the end, and foul tip by Kyle Seager. A nice job by Perez to hold on to it.
So here's one way we can chop up the numbers for Seattle. 23 wins since April 21st, 2nd most in baseball during that stretch. A little better than a month. Ryan Healy, boy, he tattoos this ball, but foul. Out over the King's court. Long strike. So Austin Bibbins-Dirks, 4 runs on 6 hits allowed tonight for him. But he has dealt with some traffic. Just trying to compete, stay in this thing. Out the way, 1-1. You know, and your point about the start for Nelson Cruz hasn't been a great one for him. Of course, he spent time on the DL with the sprained ankle. Recently suffered a foot contusion when he was hit by a pitch. Just a handful of games for that. So Cruz has been hobbled a few times. 2-1 now, the count to Healy. But it is an interesting observation, the way this team, you know, has worked around some guys not having great years. And they're 13 games over 500.
And you start to wonder, what happens now as you start to project the rest of the year. They did a good job of making this roster a little bit better with Denard Span, Alex Colomé, but one thing they've done really well is they've been good in one-run games. And again, that goes back to good usage of the bullpen. We mentioned those sacrifice bunts. Even though Scott Service doesn't love it, those have been in some tight games that have worked out in their favor.
Strike 3 called, and Healy the second out of the inning.
And that, you know, we talk when that trend happens, we start to wonder whether or not that could last over the long term, or does something have to change. Check this out: 16 wins for them right now in one-run ball games. That's the highest in Major League Baseball. That was a conversation about the Rangers a couple of years ago. And can you sustain that, you know, over the final 4 months of the season? You can go on a run and get hot. It's tough to do. But if you're the right team, the right time, it's certainly possible.
Bouncer out to Odor, and it completes the inning, but the inning started with a Nelson Cruz homer. We have played 3. Mariners lead it 4-2. Great to be with you tonight. Dave Raymond, CJ Nikowski, and Michael Milken joining us here in the 4th inning. And Michael, a big part of a big movement as we get closer and closer to Father's Day, and that always means some good awareness. Prostate cancer, one of the main causes I know that you've been following for years.
We sure have, and Fox and the Rangers have made quite a difference in this idea of keeping Dad in the game and doing these games. There's 350,000 men today alive because of early detection.
I know you've raised a whole lot of money over the years, and you guys have, of course, helped fund so much research that has made that possible. But tell us a little bit about the Home Run Challenge.
So today is a bonus game. We have 2 home runs today, but it officially starts on June 1st. Every game in Major League Baseball, starting June 1st to Father's Day, June 17th, and people pledge money for every home run being hit in baseball. And thanks to the mysterious changes in the baseball, we've had more home runs in the last few years.
Interesting. Are you behind some of this
no,
mysterious?
Now it's all starting
to come together. We can't divulge any of this information in science. It's all science-based today. It was interesting. The most home runs we ever had hit was 2.5 home runs per game, and that occurred in 2000. Then it dropped off substantially. In the last few years, it's picked up substantially, as you know, and last year was a record for the most home runs hit during that period of time.
So do you find yourself when you're watching a game, and we've had a couple of balls that were hit base of the wall or just off the wall, get up, get over, regardless of which team is playing?
Of course, and one of the greatest games ever played in this home run challenge occurred in Philadelphia with the Texas Rangers. And in the first 3 innings, Texas had hit 5 home runs in the first 3 innings, and Philadelphia had hit 3. But we've been to many games over the years where the Rangers have hit. Today, between 8 new drugs approved and early detection in this keep dad in the game that Fox and the Rangers have been behind, there's now 1 million men alive because of new drugs and almost 400,000 alive just because of early detection. So this has gone a long way over the years, and it's dramatically changed, and there'll be 1.4 million men spending Father's Day with their families.
Can you believe it's been 22 years? We've been having this conversation now for year after year, but you look up one day and you realize it's been 22 years.
And for me, 432 ball games. But when you think about it, 1.4 million men alive that might not be with us, and the dramatic changes that have occurred.
Fly ball out to right field by Odor, and there are 2 away.
So you can go to homerunchallenge.org, learn all about it. And the other amazing thing that's occurred in the last couple years is we now know that the mutations in prostate cancer really represent the potential of affecting 72 other forms of cancer, both in children and adults. So when you solve some of these mutations for prostate cancer, you're going to solve many other cancers.
All right, so what types of guys at what point in your life, et cetera, do you consider the PSA screening for prostate cancer?
Well, if you're an African American that has 100% probability higher than the average person in the country, it would be no later than 40. If you're a family where another member of your family has had breast cancer, ovarian cancer, or prostate cancer, it would be no later than 40. For the general population, no later than 50 from that standpoint. And because of these, the death rate has dropped by more than 50% over this period of time, why people were projecting it. And the period of time that we find most men go get checked happens to be the month after the home run challenge.
Is that right?
So they hear it, and they go out and just get that simple blood test shortly thereafterwards.
I was going to say, it's not a big deal, right? I mean, I think guys should know that, too. It's a pretty simple procedure.
It is, and, everyone gets their cholesterol checked. So when you get your cholesterol, just say, check my PSA. And today we have even more advanced checks and genetics that give us a lot more information.
Guzman drops one in for a base hit. He'll take a wide turn but hold with 2 out here in the 4th inning. Talking to Michael Milken.
Now we're very excited about the new park, that's going to open, I guess, in 2020.
2020, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we have 2 more seasons there in Arlington at the old park, when I remember when that park opened. So
do you make a phone call? Hey, what do you guys think about bringing the fences in a little bit? I heard
280
feet,
yeah.
Down the line's not terrible. 5-foot wall.
You used to be able to rely on the Rangers for home runs. I mean, they were dependable wherever you were, and you just wanted to follow them on the road from that standpoint.
That's a good point. Good power organization has certainly contributed and done their part to.
One of the things that's great about going to a ball game in Arlington and the Rangers are the families that come out. The number of kids that come to the ballpark, and the whole concept behind this was keep dad in the game. And you get to see a whole family come to a ball game quite often, much more than in Arlington than in many other places around the country. So you get a chance, as you get the honor of traveling around and seeing a lot of ballparks that we get to see. This park is unique with the roof, which is closed tonight, but you still feel you can see outside. So it's a unique stadium.
Well, you can even feel, right? The temperature, the chilly air, which is always nice up here at this time of year in the Pacific Northwest. It's one of the few where when the roof is closed, you still feel like you're outside because there's no windows there in left field. It's nice and open.
One of the other things that's occurred over the last 20 years has been the amazing increase in the leadership in medical science and medical research, particularly in Dallas at Texas Southwestern there. And many of the new breakthroughs and the drugs and things that have come to market really started there with research groups. So much of the money we've raised over the year has stayed in the area right around the ballpark.
All right, Michael, one last time, where do people go to get involved?
HomeRunChallenge.org, and thank you, and thanks, Fox. It's made a difference.
All right, thank you. Keep working hard, Michael. Keep
Michael,
hustling.
thank you very much.
you.
Appreciate everything you do.
All right, Michael Milken. We're headed to the bottom of the fourth. Back up top for Gene Segura. His first pitch, that one fouled away by Zunino, who struck out in the first inning. He's 0 for 1. The second game in this series yesterday, Seattle won by a 2-1 score. And that's apparently how they've been doing it lately. We talked earlier about the 1-run wins. You were pointing it out, CJ, 16 1-run victories, and you sort of threw it out there hypothetically, you know, can you keep that pace for the whole year, etc. Well, they will reach the 1/3 point tonight here in Seattle. So just multiply it by 3. Can they really go? Can they win? What would that be? 40.
What's 16 times 3?
It's like 30, 48. Can they win 48 1-run games?
No, and so I don't think they can. And so that's the question. When you're sitting there in the front office, it's about being proactive and not reactive, right? Now, they had to be reactive to losing Delano to Shields, but the idea that Delano to Shields, Robinson Cano, but the idea that, and D. Gordon, right? That's the other thing. We haven't even talked about D. Gordon as well right now, missing time. And that's certainly an important part. But you have to try to be proactive. And so I think you do that at your organization, and you sit in the front office and you're watching what's happening, and you don't just say, oh yeah, everything's fine. Look at all these games we're winning and how well we're playing, and try to stay ahead of that and then try to identify what could be the problem. Now they could look at it the other way around and say, you know what, we got D. Gordon coming back at some point. Robinson Cano can't play in the postseason because of the PED suspension, but they still have him for the regular season as they try to make that push, and they may feel like they have the improvements that they may be looking for from within.
High fly ball left field. Gallo ranging toward the line, and 1 away. Well, you can enjoy your next Rangers game in the comfort of a climate-controlled suite. Most suite rental packages include parking as well as a food and beverage package. Just go to TexasRangers.com/suites or call 972-RANGERS and get more details. One out here in the 4th inning. Gordon Beckham, 9th place hitter, 0 for 1. And he takes outside. We mentioned D. Gordon as we look at Beckham here. He gets a start at second base. Robinson Cano on the suspended list, 80 games and the postseason for testing positive for a banned substance. So they thought, well, we'll take a couple of days, work D. Gordon out at second base, you know, while he continues to play center field. And then we'll move him in and he'll take over second base. He was a Gold Glover in the National League after all-star. But he's hurt. So they have to dig a little deeper. 1-2 on Beckham. Amazing some of the challenges in this silly game. I mean, these managers, unbelievable.
That's a lot of work, and you talk about depth all the time in spring training before the season even starts. Hopefully you're not tapping into that depth already in spring training, but you have your what-if scenarios that you have to go through during the year, and they even know before any injury happens where they're maybe a little bit vulnerable. And say, listen, we lose this guy, we can't shuffle around the way that we would like to. That would be a major concern for us. There are certain things you have right in place, you're ready to go, and there's some other ones that you don't feel great about, and you always hope that you don't have to use too many of those plans anyway, but more often than not in this game you do.
When I mentioned it last night with Gordon Beckham, he was signed to a minor league deal. He was at AAA Tacoma, and he had an opt-out in his contract that happened to be May 14th, the day that he was called up to join the Mariners, so it worked out for him. I mean, got the call up, which is what you want when you have that situation. Now, I was reading today they have Jason Worth currently down at AAA, 39 years old. He's, he's had a little more trouble the last couple of years. A breaking ball, and Beckham strikes out looking 2 away. But they have, Worth had an opt-out today, but they were able to work around that. He's had some injury. And so they said, well, can we renegotiate that just a bit, stretch that out a little bit longer? And so they came up with a mutually acceptable agreement there, and they keep Jason Worth close by anyway in the organization in case they need him. And to your point, they probably will. I mean, you need somebody.
You just never know. Those are really valuable outs to have for veterans when they put themselves in those spots. You sign a minor league deal, and you don't want to get locked in with no flexibility and say you are doing really well at the AAA level and the team that you're with doesn't need you, but another team does, and trying to work out a trade can be difficult, and so to have that option just to be able to leave is pretty important for veteran players. And for Gordon Beckham, and timing could not have been any better. It worked out really well for him. And technically, you're not supposed to be able to be in contact with other teams while, say, you're in AAA with the Mariners. You can't be calling the Nationals and saying, hey, if Gordon opts out, would you guys be interested? But some of that stuff probably happens behind the scenes a little bit, quite honestly.
Line drive, right field, base hit, and Segura is 3 for 3. Two-out single on the Mariners shortstop.
Guy continues to swing a good bat. We talked about how difficult he is to strike out, and look at that swing right there. That tells you everything you need to know. Even though it was a 1-1 count, it's just the offensive approach for Jean Segura. Slider down the middle, doesn't get big, doesn't try to hit it out of the ballpark, stays close, stay down on that ball, drive it the other way. He'd be a good guy, I think, for Isaiah Kiner-Falefa to watch a little bit. I mean, Isaiah already has that approach. So when you see somebody who does something similar to you, it's always a good idea, certainly for pitchers.
Fly ball out to left. Gallo ranging to his left. Pulls it in. Span retired. The inning is done. And Bibbins Zerks gets us to the 5th tonight in a 4-2 game. Hernandez watching strike 3 from Felix Hernandez. Is Hernandez's 3rd strikeout of the night, and more importantly, the strikeout that tied him with Hall of Famer Sandy Koufax. 2,396 strikeouts in Felix Hernandez's career. So a little moment for him. I don't know if it was necessarily meaningful to
it's a big name.
Felix Hernandez, but it seems like a good one.
It is certainly a big name, and anytime that name Sandy Koufax or any other of the greats, especially ones from different eras, and you're right alongside of them, it's a big deal. I think what you'll find from players, we went through this with Adrian Beltre last year, and that conversation has continued this year. It's difficult to appreciate those kinds of things while you're still playing.
Chopper in the hole, shortstop. Segura with a backhand and the throw to first. Boy, just in time again. A couple of real close plays at first tonight, but DeShields twice just a little shy of getting an infield hit.
He does a good job with that speed of making what would seem like a routine ground out be a very close play and put a little pressure on Gene Segura. He understands that as well as he rifles this ball over to first base and just barely gets to Lionel DeShields. But remember Adrian talking about that last year, you know, just you don't, I think, until you're done playing, can have a real appreciation for being included on a list with some of the game's best. And I think probably the same case for Felix Hernandez. Doesn't mean you don't appreciate it, but you can't really fully appreciate it, absorb it, until you hang them up.
Chu was great when we were talking about that the other day with his home runs. He became the all-time leader in terms of home runs by Asian-born players. And he pointed out to me, he's like, well, that's when they start really counting those things, a lot of times it's because your career is winding down. It's like, I don't want to be doing that. I'm not looking to see where I am on the list. He's like, I don't want my career to end. Like, keep going. The 1-2. Very good eye. Watches that one off the plate. He homered in the first, walked in the third tonight.
That was the changeup from King Felix. We talked about this yesterday. When you don't have the huge speed differential, and he doesn't, that changeup at 85 miles an hour, the fastball's been around 90. See a 90-mile-an-hour fastball right there painted, but he's got good movement on that changeup. That sets up that fastball, makes it look a little bit harder as this one jumps on Chu a little bit. The changeup just missed at 85. The fastball right on the corner at 90, and precision with the command is important on the fastball when it's just 90 miles an hour, and that's exactly what Felix Hernandez did on that pitch.
So that strikeout moved him past Sandy Koufax and now into a tie with Kevin Brown on the all-time strikeout list. So some good names for Felix Hernandez. And now a 2 away, he will contend with Jurickson Profar, who has twice grounded out to second base. Jurickson 0 for 2. Profar batting in the 3-hole tonight. A little 5-game hitting streak recently ended. He's hitless in his last now 9 at-bats. Still, though, on a pretty good stretch the last couple of weeks. 1 and 2 on Profar. And one of the things he's done real well is found the gaps in the outfield defense for a lot of doubles. 16 doubles, most on the team, 7th in the American League, despite not being an everyday regular when the season began. 1-2. He took over at shortstop on the everyday basis when Elvis Andrus went down, taking that fastball off his elbow. Andrus eligible to be activated on June 11th. Profar bounces this one right side, right to the second baseman Beckham again for a 3rd time tonight. And that completes a 1-2-3 fifth inning for Felix Hernandez. Halfway to the house this evening, Mariners lead the Rangers 4-2.
We're going to take you back to the bottom of the first inning. Mitch Haniger on a very good pitch, a little slider from Austin Bibbins-Dirks, was able to hit that opposite field double. As you see that ball right near the bottom of the wall, it drove in a couple of runs, the first 2 runs of the game for the Seattle Mariners, and that was an inning in which each of the first 4 hitters reached base. A couple of doubles, a single, and a hit by pitch. A 3-run first inning for the Seattle Mariners. Mitch Haniger continuing to swing a really good bat. He's in there now for his 3rd plate appearance this evening.
Well, in 1-1 on Haniger. Haniger, Nelson Cruz, and Kyle Seager as Austin Bibbins-Dirks continues to battle here tonight. So after that 3-run first inning, he's allowed a hit in every inning since, but only the 1 additional run on the Cruz homer. 1 and 2 now on Haniger. So our Southwest bullpen live look, you find that Bush loosening up out there. Right-hander has been used increasingly in longer relief outings, so we'll see when and if he gets in this game exactly how Jeff Bannister plans on using him. The 1-2. Check swing, and that one is off the plate.
That was a good one. Now, of course, Austin Bibbins-Dirks knows he has to be careful, even though that one looked like it just missed. It was close on the corner, but very similar to the pitch that Haniger hit. We just showed you that highlight back in the first inning.
Fly ball out to center field. The Shield started back, now in. 1 away. All right, so this is the midpoint of this series. Game 2 of what will be a 4-game series. We check out our progressive upcoming schedule. Tomorrow and Thursday nights here in Seattle. Then it's off to Anaheim to see the Angels for 3. Big homestand with Oakland and Houston. And then a hodgepodge of action wrapping up, a little national action wrapping up the month. Or I guess the next 3 weeks. Nelson Cruz hits this ball hard over short, and that's a base hit. So Cruz has been hit by a pitch, he's homered, and now he is singled.
Take a look at this first pitch from Austin Bibbins-Dirks, a little bit elevated, trying to go down and away on that pitch. And I mentioned this earlier about Nelson Cruz just coming out and hacking early and trying to pull early. What he's done so far this year, 73% of the balls he has put in play on first pitch have been pulled.
Here comes Doug Brocale and Perez to chat things over with Bibbins Dirks for a moment. Not clear how much of this is strategy, buying time for Bibbins Dirks, etc., and how much of this is just a little time to get that bullpen heated up.
A little bit of both. This could be some strategy just because we saw Doug Brocale kind of jog out there a little bit, right? If you're trying to buy some time, more often than not, you're going to walk it out there. But this also could be about, finding a way to get out of this inning with one pitch, and what do they think is the best way to do it. Now, so far, Austin has handled Kyle Seager pretty well. Struck him out in the third inning, had the fly out to center in the first on a nice play by Delino DeShields, and it could be just a little bit about maybe what they have seen so far. What do they think is the best opportunity? The Rangers are right in this game, trailing just by 2, and so the idea of getting Austin through this 5th inning without allowing any more runs certainly would be big. So what do they believe the double play pitch is? They're going to try first pitch changeup.
Shift on the infield. And then ball 1 to Seager. You see how you have 3 infielders on that right side. Now, to me, this makes a potential double play a little more difficult to execute.
No doubt, especially if Jurickson Profar, you've talked about this before, we have seen it. And when the ball is hit, let's just say it's hit between him and Odor, and he takes that first step toward the ball, which is toward first base, you have 0 chance of turning a double play. Or at least, I shouldn't say 0. Just really, really difficult to try to hustle back and make it happen. Now, Cruz doesn't run that well, and so maybe it gives you a little bit of an opportunity. But that's the part we're going to talk about a lot that I think is really interesting. A ground ball between those 2 guys right now, which would be a routine ground ball to second under normal circumstances, pretty much takes the double play away.
2-0. Line foul. 2-1 on Seager. Now, Seager doesn't hit into many double plays. He's only bounced into 1 on a Mariners team that, as you pointed out the other day, they bounce into a lot of double plays, 40 of them so far. The guy waiting on deck, Ryan Healy, has been doubled up 7 times. So the double play opportunities are out there. It may not be with Kyle Seager, though. 2-1.
It's the only chance you have here for me. A couple different things could happen. Somehow you get the hard ground ball to Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, who is now with 2 strikes slid over a little bit more toward the shortstop position. You get the ground ball back to Austin Bibbins Dirks. That would probably go to Jurickson Profar. There's an opportunity there, or something hard at Ronald Guzman, where he'd step on the bag, and then Kiner-Falefa would actually come over and probably cover second. What a different game this is compared to 5 years ago. We weren't having this conversation. Who covers what in what situations?
Full count now on Seager. Yeah, it used to be, you'd have your good pivot men up the middle, and that was their job. One of their great skills was that ability to turn a double play. Well, your third baseman better be really good at it now, too. You better be agile around that bag.
And then, of course, your catcher or your pitcher or both have to bust it to third base in case anything goes wrong, because there will be nobody there.
Cruz off first. Not going anywhere. The 3-2 pitch fouled over the left side, out of play. Of course, I guess, you look at the shifts, you look at the challenge now of those types of plays, double plays and whatnot, but it's also that some of that challenge is mitigated with the various slide rules that have been instituted in recent years. It's not as great a contact event out there at second base anymore.
No more Hal McRae's. Is that Willie Randolph? No, who did he do that to?
Oh, he did it to everybody. Joe Rudy, he took dudes out to left field all the time. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and Seager strikes out. So that's a big strikeout for Bibbins Dirks. No longer the main need for a double play now.
It's a good job by Austin, back-to-back at-bats, and when she strikes out a good hitter. They were trying to actually go a little bit further away, but he'll take it. And you see you see Perez slide over and do a really nice job of blocking that ball.
Two gone, and here's Ryan Healy. Lines this one into center field. That drops in, base hit. Cruz, though, will stop at second. A 2-out single by Healy. And Gamble is due, but he's going to have to wait because here comes the skipper. Jeff Bannister heads out. Austin Bibbins-Dirks will not get through 5 innings tonight. So the Rangers go into that bullpen down by 2 in the 5th. Well, as the Astros have done, this Seattle team right there getting a little help tonight. Meanwhile, Matt Bush has come on in the 5th inning.
There's the pitch arsenal for Matt Bush. 97 miles per hour on the fastball. The curveball right around 80 in that cutter, which has been a pretty nasty pitch for him. 14% usage, but that pitch averaging 92%. This will be inherited runners number 9 and 10 for Matt Bush. He has stranded 5 of the 8 that he has inherited so far this season.
First pitch swinging, and Gamble sends it out to center, and a sliding catch made by Delino DeShields, and that one ends the inning. Nicely done. Now 1 pitch, 1 out. So Nomar Mazar will lead things off when we come back in the 6th inning. Leslie McCaslin with more on him.
Nomar Mazara up next, and I talked to him before the game about facing Felix Hernandez and what the challenge was. He said the biggest thing is that there's just so much movement on his ball. He said he has a curveball, a changeup, even his fastball now is more like a sinker. He said you really have to look for your pitch. His approach, just to try to hit it up the middle of the field. He said if he pulls it, tries to hit a home run, it won't work out. It's an accident. So guys, that's the approach. We'll see if it works.
It's a smart one, and he's absolutely right, because there are more two-seam fastballs. There is more movement on that fastball. It's no longer the straight high 90s fastball, and so to take that approach, smaller swing, shorter swing. If you see the home run more often than not, it's on a mistake pitch.
Oh, he hits his ball sharply down the first baseline. That's a fair ball, and then I don't know if it lodged under the wall or if a fan took it. But that is an automatic double.
I think a fan took it, and he lost the ball, and he will likely be escorted out of the game.
Yep, that is an unfortunate go for that guy. And
I love he's trying to explain what happened. Is there any logical explanation? Well, here's what I was thinking. It could have been a triple, so I figured if I took it, then it would only be a double. Good job by Nomar here. He smokes his ball down the first baseline. Good call. You see the swing on that. Now, okay. Look at his sneaky face. That's a fantastic face.
That was awesome.
Now, with that being said, don't do it, but that was a pretty fantastic play. Look, please have mercy on my soul. All you're getting out of this for that guy is TV time. That's it. You're not getting the ball, and you don't get to stay together. But I got to tell you, there's a small part of it that might be worth it. That was a pretty fantastic play.
That was a really good play, yeah.
Don't do it. Don't say that CJ said you should do it, because I don't think you should. That was pretty special.
So maybe that's what they're debating right now back at security. What about the merits of the play? No, it was a pretty good play.
That was good. Listen, that's not easy to do, catching it with your hat. And then it's like, yeah, I did it. I did it. I'm just going to sit right back down and stay here, right? Wait, what? Oh, look at it. No fight. He gave it up right away. Oh, and by the way, you also have to leave. That is fantastic. But don't do it.
Mazara at second, Kenner Falefa into center field. Coming on for it. Haniger, but he won't get to it. And Mazara goes to third. So a double and a single to start the sixth inning.
It's good base running by Nomar Mazara. If you're wondering why he didn't score, that ball hung up there for a little while. You certainly don't want to get doubled up, because there was always that possibility that Haniger could have made a diving play. Watch Nomar right here, just in case you take off and that ball's caught, and that's going to be a bad look for the Rangers in this spot.
And so the Mariners going to use one of their mound visits here and take a moment to discuss Joey Gallo and Rougned Odor coming up. And that'd be a bad idea. Gallo had the double back in the second inning. Of course, you're limited now to the number of mound visits you have in a game. I really just haven't seen this become much of an issue for anybody. I haven't seen any team really twisting over whether or not to go out there.
You're right. They're kind of getting into this space right now and in this area where Felix Hernandez gets near the end for him. It's 85 pitches. He has gone as many as 105, but also the innings. The most innings he has thrown this year, this is kind of surprising, through 11 starts, is 6 1/3. And that was his first start of the year. Oh, I'm sorry, that's middle of April. That's been it. 5 times of the 11 starts he's made, he's gone 6 innings or more, but no more than 6 1/3.
Remember last year he was limited to 16 starts. He had the shoulder trouble that put him on the DL. He only won 6 games already this year with 5 wins coming in. But I think they're probably a lot more conservative and prudent with the way they tax his arm these days. Still a lot of money and a lot of years invested in Felix Hernandez. 1-1 the count to Joey Gallo.
Signed through next year, plus there's a 2020 team option. So he's been averaging from a pitch count standpoint. Right now in that sweet spot as far as where he has been on average this year with the innings pitched.
Nobody out. A shift on the infield against Gallo. In the dirt, 2-1. It goes back to that conversation of thinking about getting 2 outs on 1 swing. Now Gallo never hits into double plays. I know there are people right now throwing whatever they can at their television. Never. He doesn't do it.
And what helps in your favor a little bit, first of all, you got the shift. We talked about that, how difficult it can be. And Felix Hernandez, the ground ball rate for him has come down significantly, 54% over the course of his career, but just 41% this year. So he's become much more of a fly ball pitcher.
3-1 the count.
And not surprising for Felix Hernandez based on kind of where he is with his stuff and his age. Third time through has been an issue. 317 batting average against, the OPS 981. That's the highest between the first, second, and third time through the order.
Good hitters count. Full count now on Gallo. Man at third, man at first. It's Mazzara 90 feet away. Kiner Falefa over at first base. There's Rougned Odor waiting in the on-deck circle. You want to guess who the most difficult man to double up in the American League might be this year?
Might be, or currently is. Delino?
Let's hold the bat.
Really?
And they just walked to load him up. Yeah, Gallo right now the most at bats without hitting into a double play in the American League.
Rougned Odor has got a pretty good history against Felix Hernandez. We talked about it in our open, especially recently. This is 2016 here at Safeco Park. And here he is again last year. Now, unfortunately, we're not going to get an opportunity to see whether or not he could do it again because Felix Hernandez is out of his game.
So Hernandez is done. Rangers into the bullpen here in the 6th. Local Buick dealer. And by LG OLED TV with AI ThinQ. Kind of a stormy looking evening here in Seattle. Yeah, the roof closed here at Safeco Field. And inside, storms may be brewing over these Seattle Mariners. They go to the bullpen and bring in James Pazos.
It's been a good year. You see the strikeout to walk ratio unbelievably impressive at 19-1 so far in his 19 innings of work, and it's a pretty good arm for Pazos. Fastball 95 miles an hour on average, the slider at 80. He has dominated left-handed hitters this year, 185 batting average against. He's been pretty good as far as the inherited runners. Just 3 of the 13 have scored up to this point, so it's been a very good start to the season.
So he's on here, bases loaded, nobody out, 6th inning. And Rugnet Odor at the plate. And we talked about Rugi in the open today. This one gets away. Mazzara heads to the plate. He'll score. Everybody moves up. Now there's no force out on the bases. Right between Zunino's legs. And it's a one-run game.
This ball was in the dirt. It looks like Zunino was unable to get down in time. Yeah, you see how he tried to backhand that ball and catch it clean. And it was one of those in-betweeners where you're not sure if it's going to hit the ground or if you're going to be able to catch it in the air. And I think Mike Zunino thought he was going to be able to catch that in the air, and he could not.
A huge wild pitch from Pazos on his first offering to Odor. And that's a swing and a miss, and that one gets away, and the game is tied. Kiner Falefa scores. Now, I thought that was foul tipped.
I tell you what, I thought it was too, but based on the way that Mike Zunino reacted, I don't think it was foul tipped. Nobody seemed to be calling for it. Now, the conversation there makes you wonder whether or not there was an issue, and there definitely was, with miscommunication on what sign was put down, because Mike Zunino was absolutely expecting something to be breaking right there and expecting it to be the slider, and you see that. That ball hit the umpire?
It did. It hit him in the shoulder, completely whiffed.
Wow.
Jerry Meals on the plate today, and that goes as a pass ball, even though I don't think he ever touched that. Wow. Wild. The game tied up. And Odor with a chance to put him in front here.
That's amazing how this at bat started and now where we are. That Rugnet Odor stepped in with the bases loaded, nobody out. Rugnet Odor still hitting. 2 runs are in. And there's only a runner at third.
How about this?
And now the infield's in.
The count is 1-2.
Yeah.
And Pazos thrown 3 pitches. None of them have been caught. That one was. And that may be strike 3. There seems to be a little confusion.
Jerry Meals must have had it as a 2-1 count. We had the first wild pitch in the dirt, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you had the
swing and the miss off his shoulder.
Wild pitch.
Then you had the foul tip to the backstop.
Yeah.
And then that called third strike. Should be, yeah. So
it was amazing. And maybe Rugi, I didn't see what the scoreboard had. I know we had it right, but he didn't move either.
No, I know. Yeah.
Oh, and it's because of the way the call was made, too. I mean, Jerry Meals made that call as if it were strike 2, and he might even said strike 2 right there. What a crazy at-bat.
So 1 out now, and here's Guzman, and he swings and sends this one to center field. Haniger coming on. It will drop in, base hit. Gallo to the plate, and the Rangers retake the lead. A 3-run 6th inning, and Guzman puts him in front with his 3rd hit of the night.
Good job, Ronald Guzman jumping out early on a fastball. And you know it's good velocity. He wasn't going to wait around. You got a great strikeout lefty versus a left-handed hitter. Jump on the first pitch that you can handle. Guzman does exactly that.
And Pazos is done. Scott Service out to take the baseball. What a weird outing that was. All 3 runs charged to Felix Hernandez. Rangers back on top 5-4. New pitcher coming on. Here in the top of the 6th inning, new pitcher Ryan Cook has come on for Seattle.
Just the 5th game of the season for Ryan Cook, but they have been 4 good games up to this point so far with the Mariners. And interesting, as good as Pazos has been, he's throwing the ball fine, just a miscommunication on some pitches, the one wild pitch and one pass ball. About righty-lefty matchups, I don't think they matter nearly as much to him, and this game was still a one-run game, but they go to the righty Cook instead against the 9-hole hitter Perez.
Cook immediately introducing himself to Guzman over at first. Whoa, that one got Perez. So a hit batter, and the Seattle bullpen meltdown continues in this 6th inning.
Watch this fastball. It's good velocity at 95 miles an hour. They weren't even trying to go in. Trying to just kind of go middle way, get a first pitch strike. That ball just kept running in. Carlos Perez.
It's been a bullpen that has done an outstanding job lately for the Mariners, but messy 6th inning. And now that one came in, almost got the Shields. It did it. It did. And they are loaded up. 2 hit batters, a wild pitch, a pass ball. Not to mention, by the way, Jerry Meals forgetting to count this inning on a strikeout. What in the world?
I can't believe that they're actually asking him to take a look at this to see if it hit his bat. And maybe because there wasn't a huge reaction from Delino at first. Let's see it here. Ooh, I see what they're thinking, and they may ask. Scott Service believes that might have been a foul ball, and I'll tell you what, he may have a pretty good argument based on what we have seen so far. Well, it looks like he's choking up a tiny bit there, and maybe because he didn't react. Let's take a listen.
All right. Now, you know what I heard there?
What?
I heard several ticks.
Yeah, you heard the glove, heard the bat.
I heard the wrist and the bat. That's what I heard.
Wrist, bat, glove.
I don't know. To me, again, any video or audio you just see there really clear to you that it was something?
Not yet, no.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've seen every look that's available to what they have in New York right now as they're looking through this. The first one, you know, the super slow-mos that are really clear, those always give you those best looks. We got one of those up on the center field scoreboard here. It's a big reaction from the fans, though, as if they knew it was an automatic. So that's an encouraging sign for the Rangers.
The Dogs didn't react at all.
They sure didn't. They've been very well behaved.
They sure have.
Park 9 here. One of 4, I believe, that they have at Safeco scheduled this season.
It's our Ford Replay Challenge. And they do not have one of those super slow-mo center field cameras here, which makes it a little more challenging for replay officials. Here is one of the slow-mos they do have. Let's take a look. Oh. Well, they're going to say, here we go. Say that first look was inconclusive. This is the one that is going to cost. Yeah, Delino.
Good call.
So he's back in the box. And we no longer need to be amazed at all the hit batters and everything else this inning.
We'll see. I mean, Ryan Cook's not done yet, and he just had to sit for a little while. And the fastball looks live, which would tell me that after what we've seen so far through a couple of pitches.
Well, the first 3 from Pazos, first 3 from Pazos weren't caught. First 2 so far haven't been caught. From Cook, that one was.
He tried the slider there, but look where that ball ended up and in.
3 runs already in. Getting up and in, 2-1.
And nobody up right now in the Seattle Mariners bullpen. And you get situations like this where, for me, you got to almost recognize it right away and saying, you know what, after what appeared to be 2 hit by pitches, just an uncomfortable right-handed reliever right now on the mound. Gotta be careful. Here's Seattle.
Good breaking ball, evens the count to the Shields at 2-2. Mike Delano hitless so far in 3 tries tonight. We mentioned it earlier, a little 6-game hitting streak on the line for him. Stays alive. Yesterday, a Memorial Day afternoon contest here in Seattle. Mariners won it 2-1. Night game tonight. Same thing again on tomorrow and Thursday here in Seattle. So 3 evening games in a row. The pitch on the way, and Shields swings and misses strike 3. 2 away now in the 6th inning. He got tied up.
They did. Elevated fastball that ended up being out of the zone. They weren't necessarily intentionally elevating, and it looked like Delano was trying to fight that and foul that pitch off, but couldn't get to it.
Interesting challenge here now is Chu steps in. One of the tougher routes right now in baseball, the way he's been getting on. A walk today, a home run. Chu has faced Ryan Cook on 4 different occasions. There's a walk and a hit against him. It's 2-0. 8th hitter in the inning. Started with a Mazzara double. Kiner Falefa with a base hit. Gallo walked. And then with Odor up there, a wild pitch. Pass ball. 2 runs came in. We were tied. Eventually Ronald Guzman running the go-ahead run with a base hit of his own. He's at second. Carlos Perez now at first. He was hit by a pitch. There they are. Cook way behind here, 3-0, and finds a corner.
I think probably Chu would have the green light there and would have, but not a pitch that he would want to go after. That one finished right on the corner. You think 3-0. You're looking for one pitch in one spot where you feel like you can drive a run in, and that wasn't it.
Off the plate. So Chu walks. Bases are loaded. And another mound visit before Jurickson Profar bats. What an inning.
His 3rd mound visit of the evening for the Mariners.
Yeah, and Mel Stottlemyre is
2 from him, right?
Yeah,
1 from the catcher.
For him.
1 from Zunino after that cross-up.
So you mentioned no activity in their bullpen, and there you see the remaining mound visits available for each team, but they've got to find a way to get Ryan Cook through this inning. They only need 1 more out, but Profar up with the bases loaded here. Jurickson 0 for 3 with 3 groundouts to second. You see that number there at the bottom of your screen, 11 RBIs in the last 10 games. Boy, has he given some real tough at bats lately for the Rangers. The pitch on the way to him, he holds off at strike 1.
Profar has been really good in these spots over the course of his career. 375 batting average with the bases loaded. That's 30 plate appearances. Still waiting on that first grand slam, but 21 RBIs, 850 OPS. Oh,
strike 2. Boy, that one looked like it was several inches off the plate.
Wow, and even Jurickson's looking back and saying, did you have that on the swing? He said, did I swing? And he said, no, I called that a strike. He's in absolute shock, and based on the pitches that Chu just saw that were off the plate and called ball 4, this one was right there with it. Wow, that's a tough call to make with the bases loaded in a 1-run ball game.
Stays 0-2. So the Rangers have tied and subsequently taken the lead in this 6th inning. But what an opportunity right now out there in front of Profar with the bases loaded. Inside, strike 3 called, and Profar down looking to end the threat in the 6th inning. That's a frustrating at bat.
That certainly was, but not a frustrating inning for the Rangers. And there's Ronald Guzman with the reaction after the big hit to put the Rangers up 5-4.
That hardly tells the story after one of the more cuckoo innings I've ever seen there in the top of the 6th. Matt Bush now in the bottom of the 6th. Our Kubota power stats. How about this Rangers bullpen? Last 4 games have not allowed an earned run. That's in a span of nearly 11 innings pitched. Opponents hitting 152. And Bush came in a moment ago, stranded the 2 base runners he inherited on 1 pitch. Got Gamble to fly out. And he puts a strike on the inside corner to Mike Zunino. We said it when Bush was getting ready to come in that Jeff Bannister lately has liked to stretch him out for multiple innings. 1-2 to count. Now he only used 1 pitch last inning. But it's not inconceivable to think that if the 6th inning goes well, we would see him again in the 7th. This one lined over first but foul. Stays 0-2 on Zunino, who is 0 for 2 tonight.
Certainly an opportunity to make that happen. There is some action in the Rangers bullpen. We'll see how Jeff Bannister has this kind of playing out. He would love to get Matt Bush through this inning, potentially in there for another. But Jake Diekman is up already as we've gotten started here. You have Denard Span 4 hitters away. That's the next lefty. And so for Matt Bush, got to believe he gets at least these 3 hitters.
Strike pitch off the plate. So Zunino below the Mendoza line, coming in a 195 average.
Good opportunity here to elevate the fastball after that slider was away off the plate. Looks like Carlos Perez is going to go for another breaking ball.
2-2.
It wasn't the intent to throw this at the top of the zone, but it certainly was an effective pitch. Look at Mike Zunino turning in. Fox Tracks had it in the strike zone, but Matt Bush didn't get that call.
Either, and it's a full count. I don't know where Zunino's going.
Wait, what?
Huh? There's no way, boss. Come on.
Got a good look here for Zunino.
I mean, continued good pitches.
Maybe he doesn't realize that the first pitch of that bat was called a strike, because the next 3, he swung at all of them. The first pitch was a called strike.
Yeah.
We
got to tighten this act up a little bit. We've seen some trouble here tonight.
Yeah. Well,
and I don't know. This one to me was not on Meals. This is on Zunino.
Yep. And here's the first pitch of the at bat. Called a strike, clear as day. The other ones he swung at.
Oh, that's a beauty. A strikeout to start the 6th. That is a very satisfying strikeout right there. One away.
Yes. Well, at least for Matt Bush, he knew what the count was, and he comes back and just blows his fastball right by Mike Zunino. And I think for Zunino, listen, we've all had our bad days, and based on what happened, I don't know whose fault. As far as when there was the communication with the pitch and what signs they were using. Some wild pitches, some pass balls, not knowing the count. I've had worse days than that, just not on the baseball field, on television, in front of a bunch of people. That's the problem.
Yeah. Well, that one at least worked out. Beckham now. He watches the ball, 1-1 the count. Now he bounced back to the mound in the 2nd. He also struck out looking in the 4th. This one lined out to right field, but right at Mazzara. 2 away. Well, let's take a look at tomorrow's probable starters, brought to you by Ford. Our pregame begins at 8:30 tomorrow, 9 o'clock for the first pitch. Matt Moore, James Paxton. Moore has pitched well against Seattle in his 5 career starts. Paxton, boy, struggles. I'm surprised by those numbers right there for Paxton. Last 6.
Love it. I mean, why are we even playing the game? It's over. If I were the Mariners, I wouldn't even show up tomorrow. We'll see you on Thursday.
I feel like Paxton, when we saw him last year here, he was outrageously good.
That's when he had that run, right, where he
very early in the year, like
that scoreless innings run to start the season.
Fly ball, center field, hangs up a little bit, and DeShields puts it away. And for Matt Bush, a very nice shutdown inning in the bottom of the 6th. Take a Rangers 1-run lead to the 7th.
Breakdown, and that's what we saw in the 6th inning for the Texas Rangers. First, it was a wild pitch by the Mariners, then a pass ball on some miscommunication, and then a called strike 2, which was really strike 3, and they got it all figured out when it was all said and done. And then the rookie, Ronald Guzman, comes up big. The go-ahead base hit, driving in Joey Gallo, and a wild inning it was, and some celebration and a big smile from Ronald Guzman, and that's where we stand right now. 5-4 here in the top of the 7th inning. The Rangers batted around that inning. The Mariners can say, well, we struck out the side that inning as well, but it took a while to get there, and they're going to dig a little bit deeper into that bullpen now as Mark Zepchinski comes in. Game number 17 for him. A little bit of a rough year so far for Zepchinski. I had to do a double take when I saw that. Game 17, 6 2/3 innings on the season. Game 17, 6 2/3 innings on the season. And that is correct. Game 17.
How does that work? Been pinch hitting?
On the season.
Feels low to Nomar Mazara. Heck. Of course, by the way, of course they struck out the side last inning. What else could happen? Fly ball out to left center. That one gets down and to the wall. And Mazara, who had a double to start the 6th inning, turns in another here to start the 7th.
Well, this is really the best version of Nomar Mazara that we have seen so far as he takes a fastball. That's middle in. It wasn't all the way in, but it certainly wasn't away. Keeps the hands in and drives that ball the other way. That's what we talk about. Nomar, doesn't matter velocity, lefty-righty so far this year. With his ability to hit line drives around the field, that flat swing stays in the zone longer. Pretty unbelievable from Nomar.
Now Kiner Falefa, and he takes a good pitch for a strike.
So this helps a little bit to help understand it. 11 of the 16 appearances for Zepchinski this year have been a third of an inning or less.
Like a 1/6 of an inning?
I guess that's how you do it, how you get there. He has thrown a full inning twice this year. This is every bit of being a lefty specialist to the extreme, really. Because even your lefty specialists have a tendency to face either at least the same amount of righties or lefties or even more righties when it's all said and done. But for Zepchinski, 26 lefties faced, just 14 righties. And the splits are incredible. Obviously, it's only 6 2/3 innings. Beating up on those lefties, hitting just 174. That will go up now after the Nomar Mazara double. Righties this year, 636 batting average. 636. OPS just under 2,000.
2-1, and that'll even things here on Kiner Falefa. Mazara out there at second. Mark Zepchinski, if you take the first and last name, almost as many letters as appearances. 15 letters, 16 appearances.
Is that what you were doing over there?
Yep. You see my lips moving and my socks coming off.
I wonder why you
so
went quiet. And I saw your eyes rolling in the back of your head for a while.
Full count now on Kiner Falefa. Did you see the pregame picture today with Kiner Falefa?
Oh, yeah, I did, yes.
Austin Bibbins Dirks.
And Ryan Roland Smith.
And all three of them together. 3-2. And there's ball 4. So a double and a walk. And Zepchinski getting himself in a little bit of a mess here. It brings up Joey Gallo, who, as we know, has been known to hit a couple of tape measure shots. Well, Saturday, June 9th, the first 15,000 fans get a Joey Gallo tape measure bobblehead, courtesy of Dairy Max. Astros and Rangers, a 6:15 game, and your tickets are available at TexasRangers.com.
You mentioned all three of them together, just to clarify for everyone who didn't pick up on that. There have been 3 players in Major League history that have had hyphenated names. For a long time, it was only Ryan Roland Smith, former pitcher here with the Mariners, now a broadcaster with them, does a lot of their pre and post, TV and radio, until Austin Bibbins Dirks last year became number 2. Isaiah Kiner Falefa, number 3. They're all in the same building. I had to take advantage. It was actually Ryan's idea to get the picture, and joking around how that was his MLB legacy.
that is now ruined, in his opinion.
1-2 on Gallo. Well, he's still the first.
Somebody had to pave the way, right?
Yeah. Gallo has doubled and walked. He has scored 2 of the Rangers' 5 runs. Now, the Rangers left the bases loaded last inning. And you would hate to miss out on another big opportunity here in the 7th inning. This certainly has been a great start here. But it's going to be up to 2 guys, Gallo and then Rougned Odor, to really do something, advance the cause just a little bit. Two-two pitch. Miss. Gallo strikes out, 1 away. That brings up Rougned Odor, who has struck out twice. I guess sort of what I'm trying to say when I say that one of those guys needs to kind of step up in a way and advance this cause. To me, that's the weakness of the strikeout. And I know that we are in an era where we accept the strikeout for the advanced production of the home run ball. But it's spots like these where it can sometimes really be crippling if you just can't put it in play. Chopper, third base. A tag of third, a throw to first. I take it back. I take a strikeout now. 5-3 double play ends the inning. Oh my. Well, they stay in the stretch here. We go to the bottom of the 7th. Rangers lead by 1. With AI Thin Q. And by Budweiser. Rangers fans, this Bud's for you. Safeco Field up here in the Pacific Northwest. A cool Tuesday evening. We are indoors. 5-4. Rangers on top as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. Matt Bush gave an inning and a third in relief, and now the left-hander Jake Diekman will take over.
And there is that pitch arsenal for Diekman this season. 94-mile-an-hour fastball, 82 miles per hour on the slider so far this year. And this really has worked out the way that Jeff Bannister has hoped, at least up to this point, where Matt Bush got him through Gene Segura, and now for Jake Diekman, he'll lead things off against Denard Span.
Now we'll get the 2, 3, and 4 hitters. And Span takes strike 1.
Very well could be the biggest point of this game. 1-run lead, 2, 3, 4, and if things go smoothly, we'd have to face these guys again. Probably they get another shot, but a huge point in the game, and it's only in the 7th inning.
Soft liner over short, and that is a base hit for Span. lead man on.
Denard's band does a really nice job. This ball stayed over the middle. They were trying to go away on the corner a little bit, but you see that short swing, quick to the ball. Left on left, that is very impressive at bat. And this is not nearly as favorable of a matchup. Mitch Haniger has been really, really good against lefties this year. 382 batting average for him against southpaws.
The 2-run double back in the first inning, and since then has grounded out and flied out. Diekman right down the middle, and it's 1-1. Haniger just in his second year in the big leagues, but has already identified himself as a guy the Rangers need to take seriously. Last year was slowed by an oblique injury and then took the fastball to the jaw. Now uses that C-flap on his helmet. Finished real strong though last year. 7 of his 16 home runs came in September. And this year off to a good start with the power numbers. 11 homers. Finds himself in the 3rd spot of the order here tonight.
A trade that worked out really well for the Seattle Mariners. Mitch Haniger came over with Gene Segura, Zach Curtis as well for Ketel Marte, Taijuan Walker. Walker's hurt right now. He's been very good for the Diamondbacks when he's been healthy. But 2 really good position players that have made a big difference here in Seattle, in Gene Segura and Mitch Haniger. And Haniger probably the bigger surprise of the 2. Gene Segura had already kind of established himself. We knew who he was. And Haniger had gotten a little bit of time with the Diamondbacks back in 2016.
Full count now. And the thing about Haniger is, like you say, maybe a little bit more of the surprise. And as he steps into a bigger role this year, well, here's a guy who leads this team in RBIs, 2 of them tonight to get to 39, and walks. And you look at the other guys in the big leagues who can make that same claim. They're some of the best in the game. As he strikes out here, 1 away in the 7th inning.
I like that stat. I think it kind of points to the depth of what a hitter brings to the table. Now it's a good job by Jake Diekman using the slider to finish off Haniger in a big spot. But you think about trying to drive in runs, but then also your ability to control the strike zone, to show some patience in those spots or just in general. And so to be able to lead your team in both RBIs and walks, I think that tells a pretty good story.
Pitch to Cruz, and that one in there for a strike. Cruz has had some really comfy looking swings tonight. He was hit by the pitch in the first inning, but then stepped in and took a very comfortable swing to a homer in the 3rd and stroked one out to center field in the 5th for a base hit. But Diekman has him on a 0-2 hole.
Yeah, and you're wondering when you saw Denard Span come up first, and then you got, of course, a couple of really big righties in Haniger and Cruz. Seager sitting on deck right now. He said, well, do you want your lefty in there in these spots? Well, Jake Diekman is a power lefty. We showed you the arsenal, and he's done an excellent job against righties this year. 173 batting average against, and so it's a really nice thing to be able to have when you can have the lefty, kind of the opposite of what we just saw with Mark Zepchinski, where you kind of want to get him out of there as soon as those righties come up. Not the case at all with Jake Diekman. He's got the kind of power arm. You just saw the really good use of the slider, where you're perfectly comfortable leaving him in there, not just against righties, but good righties. So he's getting a shot at the 3 and 4 hole hitters for the Mariners.
1-2. Ball hit well, but foul. Yanked down there near the King's court.
You see that ball? It was a breaking ball that finished a strike. That Nelson Cruz hit pretty hard. That's something he has done well against breaking balls this season. The hard hit rate has been near the top in Major League Baseball. Fastballs away, though, have been an issue. So we've seen slider after slider so far in this at bat. That is 5 straight from Jake Diekman. If you do go fastball, away is a pretty good spot against Nelson Cruz. I mean, obviously you don't want to miss over the plate, but away on the corner has been an issue for him this year.
2-2. Popped up. Shallow right field. Long run for Odor, but he gets there and makes the catch. 2 away.
Boy, he made that look easy, didn't he? That was not easy. That was a long way to run for Rougned Odor. He made that basket catch look so simple, but it was not. Look where he was, nearly at the bag, and Guzman was not going to get to this. That would have been a really difficult play for Ronald Guzman. It was only Rougned Odor who had a shot at this. It's a great job of corralling that pop-up in.
So now Kyle Seager. Well, you said it at the start of the inning. Might be the most important stretch right here in the game. And he's got 2 outs. Diekman goes after Seager, but low with ball 1. Seager 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts.
He's been better against lefties this year. 265 coming into this one. Just 207 against righties, which is a little bit of a surprise.
Way out in front of that one. It's 1-1. Seager was 1 for 3 yesterday. Now, of his RBIs this year, Seager has 32 of them. 18 have come with 2 out. Second most in the American League. Only Manny Machado has more 2-out RBIs than Seager. So just because you have him with 2 outs here in the 7th inning doesn't mean you're quite out of the woods yet.
See that fastball, 94 miles an hour. Jake Diekman just threw 9 straight sliders up to that point. Came back with the fastball. Seager fouls it off. Be interesting to see if they go back to the slider now. He didn't look good on the 1-0 slider that he swung at out of the zone. If Jake can start this slider, if he goes there, if he starts it down the middle, finishes it just off the plate and down, they're going to go fastball away. But there's a spot for a strikeout out there.
2-2. Man at first is Denard Span. Started the inning with a base hit. He's going. A swing and a miss. Strike 3. Seager strikes out, and the inning is done. So Diekman needed a big strikeout, and he got it.
Man, that was perfect. Comes back after all those sliders. 3 fastballs in a row, and the last one was the best one. 94 right on the corner.
Will lead things off here in the 8th inning. He's been good late.
He's been very good lately and seems to be locked in, getting very comfortable at the big league level. The defense has been there. The offense at times has been there. And tonight it has been there. 3 base hits for Ronald Guzman. All of them singles, doing the little things tonight. And the big one, driving in Joey Gallo to give the Rangers the lead. That was back in the 6th inning, that crazy 6th inning that we saw. Now Ronald Guzman will have a chance to get it started here in the 8th inning.
He's been so productive late in ball games. 13 of his 23 RBIs have come in the 6th inning or later. Now, nobody drive in here but himself, as he will contend with Dan Altavilla.
Well, I think that tells a really good story. 19th game for Altavilla, but I think in the case of Ronald Guzman, especially nowadays, think about late in the game, the relievers that you're seeing, right? The high octane arms that you are seeing. And so that makes that number for me even more impressive.
Guzman, Carlos Perez, Delano DeShields. Altavilla's pitch. Guzman fouls it away. 1-1. A 3-for-3 night. 2 more RBIs for the 23-year-old Ronald Guzman. He has as many RBIs as he is years old. Two and 1. Not quite the same as being able to golf your age.
No.
But pretty cool.
He wants more. That's as many RBIs as your age.
Ooh, that's a big year. 3-1. The Rangers scored single runs in the 1st and 2nd innings. In fact, they jumped out 1-0 today on a Chu homer in the 1st. Off Felix Hernandez. They had to come back later in the game with that 3-run 6th inning. Guzman walks to start the 8th. Time for a Chevy game break. Let's check in with Rick Renner.
I don't get that. I didn't quite follow what the purpose was of just giving him a couple of extra days and having him pitch on Wednesday. Right, he missed his Sunday start in New York. It was going to be a Tanaka-Ohtani matchup. They decided no. Of course, they have to manage his innings this year. I thought, okay, is he going to miss a full week? I'm curious why they just moved it back 3 days. Is that going to make that much of a difference?
So
give him 10 days in between starts.
Naturally, I don't have the answer to that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way I could. But I'm fascinated, right? This is a lot of the stuff that we'll probably never know, because right now these analytics departments in these teams are so big, and they take so many different unique angles. It could have been something matchup related. Who knows? That caused them to do that. But it is interesting, and you know, there was a day where you just took the ball on your day whenever that came up on the rotation.
Yeah.
And more that is becoming kind of the rare case. Teams juggling their rotations all the time. Perez tries to bunt one, but fouls it off to count 0-2.
So then my question would be to a Ranger fan, if you had your choice, that Ohtani hits all 3 days of the series, or he only hits Friday but pitches Sunday, what would you want? That means he doesn't hit on Saturday, which would be the case if you were pitching. And you don't get to choose, but
no, you don't.
What would you want?
I mean, oh, that's a good question. I think, you know, on the other side of things, if you're competing against Ohtani and the Angels, as a hitter, he affects every game, right? He's in there. He has a chance every game to do something to win.
Balances out that lineup a little bit, the left, right.
But boy, if when you're starting a game, you control that game. If you're good, right? I mean, if you're having a good day, then that game could be all about you. I don't know. That's a tough one. 1-2. Talk to play. What do you think? I mean, where do you have more impact?
I don't know. It's a tough one for me. I think I'll take him hitting all 3. I'm not happy about it. but I'll take him hitting all 3. Now, he can have that off day. You know, we saw what happened against the Boston Red Sox pitching-wise, where, what do you throw, 2 innings, and they got 6 runs off of him and drove that pitch count up like crazy. But he could strike out. We're going to see him strike out 15 in the game.
Roller by the mound, second base. The tag applied and the double play completed. I couldn't quite tell there. Beckham was forcing Guzman way toward the middle of the infield, and
they called him out.
Was that he was out of the baseline.
Yeah, they called him out of the baseline right here, so they actually did not get the tag. You see it just missed there. And make the throw. You have, once you establish your baseline, which is once you start to avoid the tag, you have another 3 feet after that. And our umpiring crew there at second base, Gabe Morales, said that Guzman went beyond that.
Get the double play. Bases are empty now for Delino to Shields. Somewhere, I got to guess there's somebody who's, let's say, listening to this conversation and debating the same thing along with us, who's a lot smarter, knows the numbers, and could say, well, your impact as a hitter, right, would be whatever, if you want to look at it in terms of, you know, runs above average replacement player or whatever, whereas a pitcher would be such and thus. It's probably an easy mathematical answer to that question, right?
I don't know if it's easy. I think there's a percentage, whatever the number is. Hey, 60% of the time he'd be better off if he didn't hit and pitch one game, whatever, one game of the series, whatever it may be, or win probability in those positions. You know, it's funny here, Jerry DiPoto, the general manager here, does a regular podcast with Aaron Goldsmith. It's pretty interesting. You don't see it too often in baseball, and he was talking about their analytical department, and he jokingly, and he said it in jest and in love, their group, they call them the Mariners. I don't know if he makes them stay in the basement of Safeco Field. That was his phrase. There's Jerry DiPoto.
The Mariners.
And he's the only general manager that played, right? Is that right, you think? How many general managers right now in the game
played
at the big league level?
That is a good question.
That's kind of gone by the wayside. That's really not the case anymore. There was a time when there was more
for sure
players up in the front office, and there still are, but as far as, you know, leading the charge, he's done a really nice job of going from former player from an era in which analytics were not really part of the game to adopting them, understanding them, incorporating them, and doing a really nice job, and understanding also passing it on and hiring people that can really give you that information the way that you want it. And he's a pretty interesting guy with his own podcast.
Shields with the walk. 1 strike pitch to Chu, very high. Well, you would think that a guy who played the game can appreciate the delicate nature of pushing the analytics down to those doing the work on the field, right? And that has always been one of the real challenges, is meshing the baseball side, the competitive side on the field with the numbers. And that said, DiPoto had a real tough time with that in Anaheim. I mean, he and Mike Scioscia just did not mix.
You're absolutely right as far as that is a big part of the process, because information is great, but how do you make it work for these players? And it's really amazing to hear these guys talk and what they like and what they don't like and how much of the information they use. And that whole process is really key. I mean, getting good information and getting good people that can bring it to you, that can analyze it and really present it in a way that's going to be useful to your team is a tough challenge. And there was an issue there, no doubt, with the Angels.
Shields running on the pitch, but Chu strikes out, and the inning is done. So a scoreless top of the 8th. Well, we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Rangers holding on to the 1-run lead. 1, and Chris Martin on the pitch here. And a little reminder, come to a Whataburger for an autograph session with Chris Martin. It's June 7th, 10:30 a.m. The Whataburger at 125 Sycamore School Road in Fort Worth. When you're there, you can sign up to be a Whataburger Whata fan. You could win tickets to a Rangers game, as well as Whataburger for a year. Visit TexasRangers.com/appearances. More information on how you can come out and see Chris. Big spot for him here in the 8th inning.
And eat some Whataburger, of course. That's also, you got a double bonus. It is a win-win. Fastball 40% of the time at 94 miles an hour. You see these secondary pitches as well, mostly curveball and cutter for Martin this year. That occasional changeup that will slide in there every once in a while. Pretty unbelievable batting average for him on the four-seam fastball this year. Just a 192 batting average against, 7 strikeouts on that pitch this year for Chris Martin, the most of any pitch in that repertoire.
Okay, so Martin against Healy, Ben Gamble, and Mike Zunino. 1-run game. That one right in there for a strike. Healy has come up with a couple of hits today, 2 for 3, struck out looking in the 3rd. Down in the dirt. Martin recently back with the club. Tall right-hander, and his 1-1. Healy takes a look. It's interesting when you look at the various numbers, and we don't always bring up, well, I guess there are certain stats that just sort of slip past you a lot. We always talk when a guy comes in, oh, you know, he's got so many saves and however many opportunities, the inherited runner situation. He's swinging a foul over to the right side, 2-2. It's not often the guy comes in and say, well, here's Chris Martin. He has a team-high 8 holds. But, you know, he does.
Yeah, you're right. And it's an interesting stat. I think it's an important one. It's not exact. It's not perfect. But how many times do you come into what would be save situations, and when you leave the game, that save situation is still intact? Now, you can have a bad outing and not give up the lead and still get credit for a hold. But then, you know, the flip side of which I don't like about that stat adjustment that I'd like to see made for non-closers, you get a hold in a tie game. Holding the score for a shutout inning in a tie game, that's certainly really important. And I will tell you that even, listen, your good arms come in the game down by 2. Your best arms in your bullpen, you're going to use them down by 2, up by 5. That probably should be the range for that stat.
Swing and a miss, and he strikes out Healy to start the 8th inning.
It's a good job by the Rangers bullpen now. 3 of the last 4 they have struck out. That's right in the middle of this Seattle Mariners lineup. Good job by Chris Martin to go below the zone and getting Healy to chase.
Well, Martin was on that disabled list in early May with a right forearm irritation. Since he's come back off the DL, he's been really good. He's dropped his ERA over a point as he looks in at Ben Gamble. Gamble 0 for 3. And he takes strike 1.
So the changeup that Chris Martin used to finish off Ryan Healy, that is the pitch in which he has generated the highest whiff percentage in his pitches that are swung at, or the percentage of those pitches that are swung at and missed. Nearly 30% this year.
One on one the count. Trying to go away here. And misses that outside corner. 2-1.
So when you went to the obscure stats,
yeah,
I thought you were going to go to expected WOBA. because that one is really, and really break it down by pitch, because on his cutter, that expected WOBA was 418.
Gamble serves one over third base. That's a little base hit into left field. And so the Mariners have the potential tying run on here in the 8th inning.
Nice job by Gamble, because that's a good changeup. Look at the location. You can't throw that any better. And by the time Gamble was making contact, it looked like he only had about one hand left on that bat. Just kind of pokes it out to left field. It no fault of Chris Martin's.
It's the first base runner tonight for the Mariners out of the bottom third of their order. Gamble, Zunino, and Beckham had been 0 for 9 combined coming into the inning. Zunino with a couple of strikeouts, and he takes wide for ball 1.
A little bit of a tough night for Mike Zunino, not just the strikeouts, but some issues behind the plate. A couple of wild pitches and pass balls and miscommunication. Thought he walked last time. A 2-2 pitch that missed.
Announced a crowd tonight, 13,259 plus dogs. And we didn't get a figure on the dogs yet. They did not like that pickoff from the Rockies. Zunino fouls one off, 1-1. But you do have to be mindful of Ben Gamble over there. He has 4 stolen bases this year. This team runs well, and Gamble is the potential tying run. I wish the folks here in the ballpark could be listening and paying attention, because they should expect probably another toss over there at some point. Down low, 2-1. Zunino has bounced into 2 double plays this year. A catcher, you would almost expect that number to be just a little bit higher. 2-2 the count.
Well, I think part of that, we had the conversation when Joey Galli mentioned, toughest to double up. First of all, Joey runs well, but then it's also what kind of hitter are you? Are you a swing and miss, fly ball, power type of hitter, say the way that Joey is? Zunino obviously not to the same extent, the kind of power that Joey has. That always comes into play as well.
Zunino's strikeout rate, though, is like astronomical, nearly 50%. 2-2. He has 113 at bats coming in to today. So 3 more, make it 116 at bats. And he has 48 strikeouts.
Yeah, that's pretty high.
One out, 1 man on. Told you to throw over again. They got to. No free microbrews tonight for Chris Martin. Not in this town. 2-2. Uh-oh. That was a mistake. Oh boy. He just did not want to do that, because now you've got the good speed out there in scoring position. And you lost Zunino with 2 strikes.
Take a look at this pitch, got away from, Chris Martin a little bit, and ball just runs up and in. The spin on it looked like it might have been, I think that was a straight fastball. I think it was, I don't know if it was a changeup that got away from him, or even the spin on it might have been a breaking ball and just didn't break it all.
So, with 2 men on, Mariners will go to the bench for a pinch hitter, Guillermo Heredia. He's announced, and that results in the Rangers and Doug Brocail jogging out there just to make sure everybody's on the same page now with the scouting report on Heredia. 8th inning, and only 1 out. We've had 3 hit batters in the ball game today. That one truly a mistake right there by Chris Martin. And Martin and Heredia have never squared off against one another. Let's see the numbers overall for Heredia. As a pinch hitter this year, Heredia's 1 for 2. He's got Gamble at second, Zunino at first. And he takes a strike.
It's a good idea throwing a first pitch off speed. We talk about this a lot with pinch hitters. They usually will come out swinging, and so the idea of going to something different, make sure they're not on the fastball. It's a good way to get some weak contact early on, but Heredia just took it.
Now a foul ball makes it 0-2. So Martin again gets ahead of his man. See in his career already a 3 for 10 as a pinch hitter. It's a tough gig. Makes those numbers very respectable. But he has decent speed. Not a guy you would expect as a real big candidate for a double play. Well, Martin could certainly use it. The Rangers set up defensively looking for that double play, and a swing and a soft liner out to right field. That's a base hit. Into third base is Gamble. They'll hold him. And the fans really rose up on that line drive base hit, but with Mazzara out there and the angle at which he was coming at the ball, there was no chance of sending Gamble.
And this was an 0-2 pitch from Chris Martin that stayed up in the zone. We saw the cutters earlier, and there's another one. They're all kind of in the same spot. I don't think he meant to throw that pitch up there, not on an 0-2 count. But Nomar does a nice job of getting that ball in quickly, hitting his cutoff man in Ronald Guzman, and so the base is now loaded and some work to do here for Chris Martin as the lineup turns over.
Yeah, he gets a tough one too in Gene Segura. There you see it, Gamble third, Zunino second, Heredia over at first. The infield stays at double play depth. And there's that little chopper, slowly hits shortstop. Profar will go to first, and they'll take the out, concede the run, and the game is tied at 5. Not much more he could have done with it.
No, he really couldn't, and it's a smart decision by Jerks and Profar to make sure you get the one. You got 1 out, bases loaded. That slow chopper, really no play at home. Too risky, and so he comes across, makes that throw to first. Good job by Ronald Guzman. You'll get a look at it here. Not with Gamble running. Much too risky. So good job to make sure you get at least one. And at least gives the Rangers an opportunity to try to finish off this 8th inning and go to the 9th tied.
Well, Jeff Bannister is going to want a new pitcher. A new game, bottom of the 8th, 2 out.
or video with hashtag Hats Off for Heroes. For each post, T-Mobile will donate $1 to support veterans.
Wow, what a shot. Downtown Seattle. Beautiful Tuesday evening here. Bottom of the 8th inning, tied at 5. MLB At Bat app. It's your #1 Rangers app. Customize your experience and take advantage of great features like the MLB.tv Game of the Day or in-game highlights, stats, news, really a whole lot more. Download MLB At Bat today. All right, Alex Claudio now with 2 out here in the 8th.
And you see the arsenal for Alex, what he has used this year. 54% of the time he's thrown that fastball at 86 miles an hour. You'll see the changeup and the slider as well. Mostly changeup over slider.
Lefty on lefty. Denard Span the hitter, and he takes a floater a little bit low. Ball.
Yeah, it's a first pitch changeup, but this is a really interesting part of Alex Claudio's game. And you look at left-handed relievers around the league that use the changeup and the percentage of the changeup that they use, especially against left-handed left-handed hitters. There's a big drop-off after those top 3. It's just not a very common pitch, and we've just seen Alex throw back-to-back changeups to a left-handed hitter in Denard Span.
Two and 0. That is outside ball 3. So Claudio's job to come in and get Denard Span. 2 right-handers waiting in the wings, and Haniger and Cruz. But he's gone 3 and 0. First base is empty. And there's a generous strike to make it 3 and 1. A run in, a 2-minute scoring position. That one's in there for a strike, and it's a full count on Denard Span.
Back-to-back fastballs, 1 away, 1 in, both right around 86 miles per hour with the movement that you get from that sidearm delivery of Alex Claudio. It's a good one there. The question is, do you give in, go back to the fastball, or you try to sweep the breaking ball? He hasn't thrown one yet, or he could go to that changeup, and he just shook off Carlos Perez twice. Could be off speed.
And here's a 3-2. And a bouncing ball, first base, sliding stop. Guzman feeds Claudio. Inning is over. All right, a run in for the Mariners. We'll go to the 9th inning, tied at 5. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. And by Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today. Ford is the best in Texas. All right, ninth inning now, tied at 5. Rangers have the heart of the order coming. By the way, Saturday, June 16th, a 3:05 game, Rockies and Rangers, a little interleague action. First 15,000 fans are getting an Adrian Beltre Best Friends bobblehead, courtesy of Dr. Pepper and Albertsons. It's the first in a series of 2 Best Friends bobbleheads. You would need 2. Tickets available at TexasRangers.com. There they are, 2 knuckleheads. All right, here we go. Ninth inning, Edwin Diaz takes over on the mound. Romine takes over at second, and Heredia comes in to play center field. What's going on? And Diaz will get Profar, Mazzara, and Kiner Falefa in the ninth inning. Swing. Yes, and it's 1-1.
Here are the numbers for Edwin Diaz, and pretty amazing 47 strikeouts in 28 1/3. Sparkling ERA. Does have a loss and has given up a couple of home runs despite just a 109 batting average against.
2-1 the count. Diaz, the superstar closer they've got going here in Seattle. And what a luxury for Scott Service. I mean, obviously you've got a guy in Edwin Diaz who has been lights out for him. Gives you that security at the end of the game. This one lined out to right field. Profar has had his number. Now 3 for 4 against Edwin Diaz, and the potential go-ahead run is on in this ninth inning.
It's a good job by Jerkson. I mean, you talk about being comfortable and putting together good at-bats against one of the toughest in the league, and he has done it, and doing it from the left side of the plate. And that is a big base hit here to kick off this ninth inning.
Brings up Nomar Mazzara, who has homered off of Edwin Diaz in his career. But, you know, look, when you burn your closer at any point in any game, no matter who you are as a manager, you know, you're left without that one super special weapon out of your bullpen. But the reality is, for Scott Service, is he has another one. They just traded for Alex Colomé, and so they have Colomé at their disposal should they need him at a point later on in this one tonight. Colomé into the setup role here, but was a closer in Tampa Bay. 1-1 the count on Nomar Mazzara. He's dressed up in a spacesuit out there or something.
You never know. Gotta be ready. Not surprising with Diaz. We showed you that pretty unbelievable batting average against for him so far this season at 109. 136 for the lefties, 083 for the righties.
Swing and a miss there by Mazzara. 1-2 the count.
For Nomar, after seeing a first pitch 97-mile-an-hour fastball, it's been back-to-back sliders from Diaz.
Had a busy day at the plate. The 1-2 pitch. And it is outside, 2-2. It's a fan a couple rows back. He's certainly more than happy to make the call for Jerry Meals. But Meals said it was wide. It was just off the corner. Now the 2-2 and a swing and a miss. So Mazzara does strike out, 1 away here in the ninth inning.
So difficult against Edwin Diaz. He knows how to finish off hitters, and it's a good pitch just below the zone. That slider going straight down.
All right, Kiner Falefa now. Profar over at first base, a small lead. Strike in there to Kiner Falefa, who has a hit tonight, has also walked. Rangers got 3 runs in the 6th inning to retake the lead tonight, 5-4. Just gave that lead back in the 8th. Bouncer foul.
This is a really good test for Isaiah Kiner Falefa. We've talked a lot about his ability to fight off good velocities, the lack of swing and miss in his game so far this season, and what he has shown his first go around at the big league level. You're dealing now with one of the best in the game as far as generating those swings and misses and bringing the high velocity.
1-2.
Oh, that nice wild pitch.
Just outside, 2-2. So Kiner Falefa.
See the reaction from Diaz there? I mean, that's a ball. It's off the plate. But just to give you an idea of how little time you actually have, it's 97. It's close, but it was a ball. But to make that decision in such a big spot in the 9th inning, the tie game.
There it goes. Bouncer right side and a wide open infield. That one through into right field. And the Rangers have him on the corners in the 9th.
Amazing. Really, absolutely amazing. A terrific at bat. Just bragging on Isaiah Kiner Falefa with the great take on the pitch before. It's a pretty good slider. It stays in the middle, but it's just difficult on the change of speeds. And it's a hit hard, but he hits it exactly where he has to.
So, go ahead run 90 feet away. And Kiner Falefa with another just spectacular at bat. Set the Rangers up now. Joey Gallo, double, a walk. He scored twice. He takes high.
So what we need now is a little slider in the dirt. Almost
Yes.
saw one wild pitch, just kind of keeping with the theme. Not that Joey can't drive one in here, he can. But that seems to be kind of the MO for the Mariners this evening, is get that runner at third. We'll get him in for you.
Gallo 33 RBIs. What was that pitch in the dirt you were looking for?
Man, that is an unbelievable pick by Mike Zunino. I know he's had a rough night. A couple things have gone wrong behind the plate. But you get 97, and then you get 89. That's a clean back pick right there. Whew. I would miss 100 out of 100 of those.
Off the plate, 3-0 to Joey Gallo.
I know what you're thinking. Do you green light him in this spot?
You have to, right?
One pitch, one spot, you have to. Could be the best pitch he gets the entire at bat. Now it's just a matter of Joey being disciplined enough to pick out that one spot.
And he takes a strike, 3-1.
That's a good take. You don't want to swing at that slider. And that just tells you that Edwin Diaz and the Mariners also knew that Joey Gallo would have a green light in that spot. I tell you what, that could have been called a ball too.
Yeah, it was close. 3-1. And there's ball 4. So they are loaded up. Edwin Diaz. A little hot water here. 1 out. Mel Stottlemyre is pitching coach, making yet another trip out there. We'll bring the infield in with him. Bases loaded for Odor. Interesting spot here. Odor 1 for 5 in his career against Edwin Diaz. And those infielders there. It's kind of that awkward moment. What are we doing here? Why are we here?
So for Edwin Diaz, as good as he has been this year, game number 29, he's pretty much thrown an inning in every outing except for one, in which he threw an inning in the third. But this is just the second time this year in which he's allowed 2 base hits in an outing. Only once. Every other time it's been 1 or no hits.
Well, 0 up on the scoreboard now for mound visits for Seattle. They're done. Here's Odor, and he takes ball 1.
But if this game continues in the extra innings,
they'll get 1 inning.
They get 1 per inning. That do not accumulate.
No,
correct?
they do.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, they do. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought they didn't.
I know. So did I. Breaking ball finds the outside corner, 1-1. I finally contacted Major League Baseball directly.
Okay.
I was tired of the runaround I was getting from everybody. So I went straight to Major League Baseball, and they said, nope, they accumulate.
You just knocked on Rob Manfred's door. Say, you got a minute.
I said, hey. 1-1. Well, we've talked a little bit this week about Odor and what has been a little life in that bat again. Multiple hits and 2 straight, 3 of his last 4 games. He's so on the cusp right now of breaking through again, and what a spot for him here. Outside, 2-2. You would just love for him to get that big ego-boosting hit in this 9th inning.
Interesting, too, I think, to see Edwin Diaz's pitch selection here. We saw him throw Joey Gallo, a 3-0 slider, another slider on 3-1. Bunch of off-speed pitches here to Rougned Odor. You kind of wonder if he's not feeling the fastball location.
Odor the other way down the left field line. It is down. That's a base hit and more. Profar is in. Kiner Falefa scores. Here comes Gallo. He's in. A bases clearing double by Rougned Odor. And the Rangers are up by 3. Well, there's that big ego boosting hit.
You're not kidding. And we've seen Rugi do this a little bit where he has been going the other way, but he has not done it in a bigger spot than that one right there. Double number 7, another off-speed pitch, and one that was poorly located up and away. Edwin Diaz just not feeling that pitch at all tonight, and Rugi takes full advantage after he chased a pitch below the zone. Diaz left him something up that he could handle. And what a tremendous job by Odor. You talk about the confidence getting boosted. There it is right there. And the Rangers are going to knock Edwin Diaz out of this game. What an incredible 9th inning this was for the Ranger offense.
Well, it's been a bizarro game tonight. The Rangers up by 3 here in the 9th inning, and a new pitcher coming on for Seattle. Spots tonight.
He certainly has, and he has come through. And the first time around, it was strange that at bat that he had, and it was the Mariners kind of giving this one away. First a wild pitch, then the miscommunication turned into the pass ball. So there was 2 runs that scored during that bat. Not an actual RBI or either one of those, but these were 3 RBIs for Rougned Odor as he takes that slider that was up and away, drives it to left field. You see how excited Rugi is, and he should be, after what has been a very close and back and forth game here between the Rangers and the Mariners, a statement double from Odor against one of the game's best right-handers, Edwin Diaz.
Now chasing Bradford, and this ball lined by Guzman down the left field line. It will get Odor to the plate. Guzman with his 4th hit of the night adds a huge insurance run, and the Rangers lead it 9-5. How about his day?
A great job by Ronald Guzman tonight, and I tell you, you get excited about approaches with at bats, and we just talked about it with Rougned Odor. How about Guzman? First pitch, not a bad pitch. It's on the corner. He's got a runner in scoring position, and he takes that opposite field approach and lines that ball down the line, left field, driving in a run, getting himself a double. We saw Nomar Mazar, left-handed hitter, do the same thing, hit a ball in the gap. Those are the kind of at-bats you get excited about. Those are quality, good approaches, and just kind of opposite of what we've been talking about so much with the big swing, swing and misses, swinging for the fences. That's not what this was at all. Not tonight for the Rangers.
Perez swings and misses. He's in a hole 0-2. So 4 runs in this 9th inning, and all 4 charged to Edwin Diaz's line. Now there it is. That is a big crooked number. Check swing. That's low, 1-2. Chasing Bradford, the new pitcher. Consider that Edwin Diaz had given up 5 runs all year, and he's been stuck with 4 tonight. It has been a weird one tonight. Expect the unexpected. Only 1 out. Guzman out there in scoring position. One, 2 in the dirt. Guzman 4 for 4 with a walk. 2 RBI singles, an RBI double. Pitch to Perez, and he will foul this one over the right side and up into the stands. Well, Bradford is the 6th reliever tonight, 7th pitcher for the Mariners. Full count. Bradford. We're back to that rosin bag. It's cooled off a little bit. It was 61 degrees at game time. Payoff pitch high. We don't have a thermometer in the booth, but I'm pretty sure it's 28. It's not that bad, but it is cooled off.
No doubt, man. It has definitely cooled off a little bit here. And when you first get here after coming from the near triple digits in Dallas, oh, that no humidity, boy, that feels nice. And you get a little deeper into the night, and you're like, ooh, 97 sounds pretty good right about now.
52 degrees, I'm told. So, you know, good sleeping weather. DeShields up there, and he takes a strike from Bradford. So, a double and a walk against this newest reliever for the Mariners. Still only 1 out, and DeShields endeavoring to add to this Rangers lead. They got 3 in the 6th, 4 so far here in the 9th inning. And that bounce pass to the plate blocked by Zunino.
It'll be an opportunity for the Rangers in the 9th inning. They've pitched very well tonight. 9 strikeouts to no walks for that pitching staff. Now they have had 2 games so far this season with no walks, but those were games that they actually lost. So they only pitched 8 innings in those games that they lost on the road. So an opportunity to go 9 innings, no walks. some of the small things that have been talked about going back to last year that the Rangers were working on for 2018. The walks certainly have been better in a lot of spots and for a lot of these guys. But to get an entire staff to do it would be encouraging as well if they can pull off this comeback win.
2-2 count on the Shields. Bradford, first time he is squared off against Delano DeShields. Righty's 2-2 pitch. This one fouled away. Bradford, a guy the Mariners got from the New York Mets. He was a waiver claim in January. Last year was 2-0, a 374 earned run average with the Mets. There's a swing and a miss. He strikes out DeShields. 2 gone here in this 9th inning. A tough night for Delano. And here comes Shin-Soo Choo. 2 more walks tonight. A home run for Choo. So another excellent night at the plate for him. One he could cap with another big at bat right here. Second inning tonight in which the Rangers will have batted around. So 9 batters to the plate in the 6th inning. Choo, the 9th batter here in the 9th. 0-2 the count. Choo's streak, he didn't waste any time tonight. Extended it in the 1st inning. 16 game streak now of reaching base safely, and he has done it with 18 walks and a whole lot of hits, including some home runs. 0-2. He takes low. In the bottom of the 9th, by the way, it will be the heart of the order for Seattle. It's a 4-run lead. Two. Manfred, this will be his 20th pitch.
In the center field scoreboard, it says number 17 Delano DeShields with a big picture of Choo. There it goes. They fixed it. Just as I said it.
It's getting a little late here in Seattle.
They're a little chilly, maybe in their booth.
Well, a full count now.
As soon as Rougned Odor hit that double, it was a light crowd to begin with. But a pretty good amount of them got up. And I don't want to say they wanted to beat the traffic. I think that's the issue. They were ready to go home after that.
A little late night coffee. 3-2 pitch, runners go. There's a swing and a miss. And Choo strikes out to win the 9th inning. But a big 9th inning. The Rangers played 4 runs. They needed a big hit from that man, Rougned Odor. He delivered. And then the great night of Ronald Guzman continued immediately thereafter. Rangers lead by 4. No, it's late back there. Rangers 3 outs away from finishing this one off. Heart of the order coming, and not a safe spot, but Kella in nonetheless.
That's still an important spot, right? When you think about what happened here with this game, a little bit of the back and forth. The Rangers come back, and then we see, of course, the Mariners tied up in the 5th. The Rangers put up that big, excuse me, the 8th, the big 4 spot in the top of the 9th. So some momentum here working in the Rangers' favor. You know, and I wonder, we talk about it a lot, joking around, of course, that when you see the Ronald Guzman hit that made it a non-save situation. As Kella's down there and the adrenaline is getting up, it does take a little wind out of your sails. There's no two ways about it.
He pumped that one in at 97, only to have Haniger send it foul. Haniger had the 2-run double back in the 1st inning. He's 1 for 4. Bottom of the 9th inning, 9-5. Rangers with the lead, trying to even this series at a win apiece. Bouncer right back to the mound. Keller, not sure if he got that with his bare hand initially. Does get Haniger 1 away. We'll see where that one got him. Didn't look like it was coming too hard by the time it got to him.
Yeah, we'll take a look at this. One of the tougher guys on the team, no doubt. And it looked like it might have caught his bare hand first. He does not want the trainer, Kevin Harmon, to come out. He's going to meet him close, and he's going to explain to him why you don't have to look at my hand. He's going to send it back to the dugout.
I need you to leave.
And for what it's worth, that does not count as an official mound visit.
So Kella gets the first man in this 9th inning. Keone will now deal with Nelson Cruz. And a breaking ball in the dirt. But we don't get to see Kella every day. That's part of how things work in the bullpen, especially when you're the closer, and especially on a team off to the start the Rangers have gotten off to this year at 22 wins and 34 losses. And so the guys we do see a lot of tend to dominate our conversation. The Bibbins, Dirks when he's in, but the everyday guys like Guzman and Profar and Kiner Falefa have been the storylines this year. High fly ball, right field. Mazzara is there, and there are 2 away. Keone Kella, when we have seen him, has been a great story this year. Just been a phenomenal reliever for the Rangers and added some stability out there where for the last handful of years they just have had a very difficult time finding any stability.
He served a huge role. We know the issues that the Rangers had last season as far as trying to solidify their closer role, getting it done, and there have been some issues with that, and Kella has done a really nice job. This is something that he has wanted. This is something that we all knew he was very capable of, had the stuff, has the mentality, and he's getting that everyday opportunity. He's really running with it.
2 outs and the 1-0 to Seager. In there for a strike, it's 1-1. Seager with 3 strikeouts today. He's 0 for 4. Tough day for him. Fastball swung on and missed. Well, Austin Bibbins Dirks had the start today. Couldn't quite get through 5 innings. The 1-2 pitch in the dirt. Alex Claudio, currently the pitcher of record for the Rangers. 2-2. Bouncing ball. First base side. Odor has it. Little lob to first. And it's fitting that he should make the last out. Odor, who delivered the big hit in the top of the 9th inning, is right there to finish this one off. The Rangers with a 9-5 win on the road in Seattle, and that was a beauty.
It was, and it was a really nice comeback job by the Texas Rangers against one of the best right-handed relievers in the game with that upper 90s mile-an-hour fastball, but did not matter for the Rangers. And it was a fun 9th inning for this offense where a couple of big things had happened, but this was the big one, the knockout punch against Diaz, that opposite field double for Rougned Odor. 3 runners score. Jurgen Profar, who had a base hit. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa had a really good base hit. And then Joey Gallo walked. And then Ronald Guzman comes in and does the same thing. Delivers that double RBI double to extend the lead by 4. Just a really good night overall for the Rangers. This offense, really nice night for Ronald Guzman with his 4 hits this evening. They battled. This is a character win for the Rangers.
Yeah, it was indeed. High fives and handshakes for the Rangers today. They even this series at a win apiece. And Alex Claudio now, by the way, 4-2. I think he leads the team in wins now with getting 1 out today. Got Denard Span, got it done, and then allowed Rugi to provide the heroics. Rougned Odor, you might not be surprised to know, is standing by with Leslie McCaslin.
Well, you might not be surprised to know that he has a big smile on his face. Rugi, you come up, a bases clearing double to win this one. How'd you do it?
Yeah, I mean, I was just trying to do my best in that at bat, looking for my pitch and battle. And he threw me one slider, middle away, and just put it in play, and they scored those runs.
You told us the other day that you can't play scared, that you have to play your same aggressive game. How much has that helped you this past week?
Yeah, that's who I am. I always play the game hard. I always compete, and I never play the game scared. And that's how I'm gonna keep playing.
A couple of fun games, a couple of close games. They win 1, you guys win 1. Is that what we can expect from the last 2 in this series?
Yeah, we just trying to play like how we play. We play together. We always take care of each other, and we've been playing like that, and we've been playing good.
Have you ever been a part of a 6th inning like that?
I don't think so.
A little strange.
Yeah.
All right, thanks. You guys get the win, a big win. Thanks to you, Rugi. Appreciate it. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Leslie. Yeah, right in the thick of things tonight. So Rick Renner, Mark McLemore, and Darren Oliver all set to break it down for you. When we come back, they'll have all the player reaction and analysis. For CJ Nitkowski and Leslie McCaslin, I'm Dave Raymond. Inviting you to stay with us. A lot more fun still to come right after this.